Welcome to Chronic Curiosity, where real people have real conversations. From anything to everything, and sometimes nothing. But if you enjoyed the show, we'd ask that you would make sure to follow, subscribe, do all the things that you're supposed to do, but more importantly, share it with a friend and get the word out there. We love interacting and communicating with everybody, different ideas, opinions, and thoughts to have real conversations. If you want to support the show, tell your friends. Or you can also go on the website, chronic-curiosity.com. You can donate there in USD or Bitcoin, or you can also pick yourself up a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, a hat, even a coffee mug with Bitcoin or USD to support the show. Hope you enjoy. And here we go.
Well, I cut through the Rockies like some unholy blade. I'm a plane to see plainsman. This I'd suck it.
You said a hand. And
Suck it, Trebek.
There you are.
I like it to tickle my beard.
Ho ho.
There we
like
go.
A hand. You're like a quarter of a hand. I'm like 17 hands away.
Oh yeah, that's way loud. That's
I'm gonna back up until I can hear an echo.
Check.
Chickadee, check yourself.
there we go.
Time to
Does that
keep
sound
the beat
better?
right.
While you wreck yourself. How come you
Check,
have a
check,
lure?
check.
Shotgun bullets are
What
bad
What
for
do I
your
have
health.
to do to get a lure?
Lure.
You have to have patience that build lures and give you one.
Someone that's a lure builder.
Super anticlimactic and not at all what I was expecting you to say.
I don't know. I was going to make up a story for
I
it,
was
but
waiting.
it's all I got.
Yeah.
That's all I got. And this is my first one.
Okay. When did the story start?
It's gonna start. Told you. Fucking told you.
I did
All
that
right.
the other day to
What's
my
that?
kid. My kid made some smart ass remark to me, and I was like, usually I'm like at least 5 points better.
Drill sergeant, yeah.
I have like outwitting her
Oh yeah.
and like making even smarter one. And I was like stood there and I was like,
You just stared at her.
Bro, that's
yeah. And I go,
that's-
you know,
That's when you know you're a good parent.
yeah. And
You're
I was
oh
like,
shit.
yeah.
She's over there
Yeah,
like, I
Kid's
just
getting as
leveled
good
up.
as I am.
yeah, it's exactly what it was. I was like,
Dad
yeah,
ain't got shit on me no more.
I don't have anything smart to say back to that. So
Are we
I'm just walking away now.
are we recording yet?
Yeah.
We are?
We
Okay.
are.
Hey,
Just
can I
started
get
it.
a little bit more mic?
Yeah.
Slide them
that's
out
me.
in my ears. The ear hole thing.
The ear hole thing.
There we go. That's good. I'm not too loud, am I?
No, that just turns up your
I know, I'm
ears.
joking.
Just turns up your hearing aid. Hey, Dad, hold on. Does he have? Has he always had good hearing?
I think so. He's probably grown quite a bit of hair in those ears, though. Maybe he just needs a good trim.
What?
Are you there, George? Are you there?
Okay. What was the hearing question about?
Because I've always made fun of you for not being able to hear a damn thing. You're like, my hearing's the one thing
I think
about
he's
me that's
mostly
not
selective.
Or maybe it is bad. I don't know.
bad. Well, the reason I asked, maybe this is my turn to remind Tony. Maybe you should introduce somebody.
What? Ladies and gentlemen, this is my
Oh, jeez.
It's me.
my sister,
It's me.
Ciara Adamrovich.
You didn't even say my name right.
It's
You
Ciara.
didn't say my
Jesus.
name right.
You need 3 more of those to say
No.
my name right?
Okay, I'll say it correctly. It is Ciara Adamrovich. Ciara Nicole Adamrovich.
Oh boy, here we go.
But
You gonna give her
at
like,
least
address and social security
at
too?
least your grandpa remembered your name.
That's true. That's because I'm the favorite.
Oh.
Not Grandpa Ray, the grandpa that's dead.
Oh.
No, both.
Grandpa Ray forgot my name?
No, he didn't forget your name. I'm just his favorite.
Oh, it's like, you gotta be shitting me.
He'll watch this and he'll be like, yes, it's true.
Those are my grandkids?
It's true.
He's not gonna claim us as his grandkids.
He'll claim me.
Oh, this is very anticlimactic uncorking.
I should have brought down the electric wine opener
Whoa,
for you.
what are you doing there?
I
What are you doing there?
know. I put it in my bag and I was like, geez, if I get pulled over, there's gonna be some questions.
An electric wine opener?
Yeah, it's like it's like long and cylindric in nature and
So,
metal
Stab.
power, metal power, stabby thing.
I thought I was good at getting Tony to be feeling uncomfortable, but I feel like I'm gonna get a.
Are you gonna be the
A
most
real-
uncomfortable one today?
No.
Oh.
So
No,
it's-
I won't be uncomfortable, but I'll get a real
mistaken,
teaching.
Fred.
Here.
It's not uncomfortable.
Well,
this is just these are things we do.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily like uncomfortable, but
Oh, you'll see.
that's like like my sister said, she was listening to some of the. It was like one or two times she's been like, I had to turn it off because I couldn't listen to what
That sounds like
you
our
guys are
mom.
talking about.
She just doesn't even listen.
You-
She's like, nope.
I will not go there.
Canceled my kids.
That's probably sometimes
Kind
that's
of
the
ask for
best.
it. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's good. The best kind of canceling. We're not total rejects, you know.
At least Ciara uses rejects, Tony.
Yeah, that was like
Well, those are two
that
different.
was the nicest word I could come up with.
See?
I couldn't hear you guys. What'd you say?
Do I need to increase my
No, I think you heard you.
Tony's
just fine.
earpiece for me?
Nope.
I think you heard
There's
you
really
just
everything that's
fine.
wrong with us is just fine. It's just right. We're just the right kind of wrong. Right?
That's.
wrong?
I would describe Tony that way.
The right kind of wrong.
Just the right
I
kind
mean,
of
we're
wrong.
intelligent and we're level-headed.
Solid
and we
slogan. If
can-
I was running for president, that's what it'd be.
Listen, how many minutes in are we? Are we done now? Did I do it?
Yeah,
I was like
yeah.
on the drive over.
Mic
like,
drop.
I have nothing
Yeah.
to say.
That's a good way to end this
Nobody's gonna wanna hear what I
podcast.
say,
Thank you for
so
coming. Yeah.
2 minutes in,
Nailed
like,
it.
let's wrap this shit up. With the right kind of wrong.
Yeah, don't get too far away from that thing, though.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
No.
it's okay. You can move it too.
You gotta let your chinny chin
Keep
hairs
on my-
touch it.
Yeah, no, you don't need to be that close.
All right, so let's tell the world a little bit
My chinny
about.
chin hairs. That's not.
Like a 30 second.
And I rubbed my chin, and then I was like,
Damn
"Do I
it.
what?"
So let's tell the audience a little bit about you.
I'm
Tell
so
'em about
Nobody
you.
wants to know about me.
No, so an easy one is what you do for fun money. How do you fund your fun?
We'll be right
If
back
it's an
after
OnlyFans-
this commercial
if-
break.
Is this a commercial break for your
What
OnlyFans
did I
account?
sign
or-
up for?
It's just not
Jesus.
just phrasing that well. It's not phrased well at all.
No, and immediately I started getting hot, and I was
Fund-
like, "I'm just going to take my jacket
fund
off."
your
And I was like, "God,
funds?
I'm falling into the
No.
trap." There's this. You
No.
get out this.
What do
no.
you do for work?
Now I understand.
What do I do for work? No, I am a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for about 10 years, and I've worked in about 3 different areas of specialties. And
Which specialties?
my first experience was on an oncology floor in Cleveland. We did inpatient chemotherapy for the whole hospital, and we did hospice and end-of-life care, as well as just like general admissions for treatments for post-chemotherapy, things that needed taken care of,
Yeah.
electrolyte imbalances, things like that. Second job I had was on a progressive care unit, which is primarily cardiac and stroke, so heart catheterization recoveries, maintenance of new diagnoses for strokes, et cetera, things like that. And then currently I am on OB unit doing labor and delivery and postpartum and triage for pregnant ladies, for the gals. So,
Which one do you like the best?
ooh, see, that's not fair. That's not fair, and you know it, because I think that each job has provided me with unique experiences and opportunities, and I don't feel
Cut the
like,
shit, Karen. Which one's the best?
I don't know
I'm
which
joking.
one's the
No,
best.
I know you said you loved your cancer patients.
I could tell you for sure which one's the worst, but that's probably not a conversation we should have on this podcast. But
That's cool. We'll avoid that.
I mean, we can have any conversation
too.
you want.
can we go? Excuse me. Can we go off record?
Yeah.
No, yeah, I definitely think that nursing as a whole, a lot of people just think of a nurse as a nurse. I can definitely tell you that the most challenging position that I've had is the position that I'm currently in with labor and delivery.
Okay.
I think that of all of them, it sounds weird to say, but I feel like it's the most specialized. I know oncology, you think cancer, you think, okay, that's specialized, but like there are so many different variations of obviously, cancer and chemotherapy treatments and ways that we can go about that, and then incorporating like the hospice and the end of life care and like all of that stuff too, has a different dynamic. So I would say this one is most narrowly specialized of everything that I've worked in, and it's been the most challenging. And it was one of those big things I had to overcome was when I learned labor and delivery was that I'm taking care of 2 people. One of them I cannot get to if things start to go bad. I can't just do things to
Come on out, baby.
So I have a list of interventions that I can go through, right? But they're not always guaranteed to work. And then you're in a time constraint with who's available and where are they. And we all need to be in OR now and, things like that. So it's one of those situations where people say, and I can say that about, almost every job is, oh my gosh, you must have the best job in the world. You must love your job. And I said, I do love my job. And it's one of those days when my job is really good, it's really good. When my job is really bad, it's the worst. So, and that goes, for oncology, nobody ever wants to lose anybody in their family. But I think we all sit to agree that there's something special about a child and something that's a little bit different and a little bit of a different dynamic. So, it's the good and the bad and the ugliest of all the uglies, I think, really, when it comes to jobs that you can do and things that you can do. So it's weird to say that it serves you well and that it really humbles you, I think, as a person. But it's one of those things that it's crazy because people are like, wow, you help deliver babies? That's awesome. And then you deliver so many that some days you're like, you know what? That is freaking awesome. You kind of forget sometimes when you get to help people like that.
We talked about that on the last podcast. Like you do something repetitively so many times and it just becomes kind of second nature or loses some of its allure.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part of, is it like handing them the baby?
No, so then, well,
What's this, like the Lion King?
I try really super hard.
beans.
I have a really high success rate of not delivering the babies of the moms that I labor, thank goodness. But I would say like some of there's just been like some really cool, like quirky moments. Like I had a dad one time that didn't know if they were having a boy or a girl. And so of course, we're all like, all right, Dad, get ready. Like when the baby's born, like we're going to ask you. And the baby was born and I don't even remember if it was a boy or a girl, but I remember like looking at the baby and looking at Dad and he's like totally stoked and shocked. And I was like, all right, Dad, what is it? And he looks and he pauses. Everybody's looking at me. He goes, what is it? Oh, and we died over that, but yeah, just really cool moments. It's definitely really cool to see like the parents' reactions and seeing their baby for the first time and seeing like all of that like love and fear and hope and like all of that stuff like flash directly through their eyes at that given moment. A lot of babies don't cry immediately when they come out.
Yeah.
And that's something that like first time parents, you always expect. You think that when your baby comes out, it's going to be pink and it's going to be crying. And a lot of times they're not pink. And a lot of times they don't cry for a couple seconds. So you get that like joy of the mom being like, I just completed one of the most difficult tasks of my life. And then that little tiny moment of shock, like, why isn't the baby crying? And then the baby cries and all that relief floods out of her. And I mean, I've been there. I'm sure Cass has been there. No matter what, even if everything goes to par, there's always just this thing at the end where you're like, holy shit, this is one of the longest journeys of my life that I've ever been through between like your body changing and everything else. And like, you made it. You finally made it. And it's wild. And then you sit there for the first couple hours and you're like, can you believe like 2 hours ago, this baby was like not even here, So it's cool. I think everything just as a whole. And it's like, it's a different perspective taking care of quote unquote healthy people at the hospital. So I spent a lot of years taking care of people that were sick.
True.
And so when I first came on this floor, I started treating everybody, maybe not treating them like they were sick, but I was like sick, worried about everybody. You know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh, like what if this happens? What if that happens? Because that's the kind of crap that I was used to. And so I'm finally getting to the point where I'm like, you know what? Like it's about 5 years. I really think that's one of the things I try to tell our students and people that we orient is that like in nursing, you're not even like a toddler until you've been somewhere for like 3 years.
Yeah.
Like you don't even know what you don't know when you start a job like that. You think like, assessments, I can hang meds, I can do stuff like that.
Can you say that louder for the rest of the world, please? With
You don't
everything they
know
do.
what you don't know. But it's just one of those things and that's where some of that humility comes in too, right? Because you're like, shit, I graduated like top of my class in nursing and all this stuff. And then you come in and you're like, oh my God, this is super overwhelming. And that's one of the things that I feel really bad about right now is like new nurses coming in with the COVID and like everything else and all the crap that's going on. Like the nurses that feel like they're seasoned and feel like they've had the time and they know things, like that group is floundering. I've been a nurse for 10 years and I don't even want to put myself in that group because I think it takes at least 3 years for you to start to feel like you're getting your feet wet in something, especially if you pick some kind of specialized specialty. Yeah. And then about 5 years, I feel like you start to come into your own a little bit. And it's just kind of weird. Like, looking at, I think, I can't remember where I read it, but they said right now, like these new grads that are in nursing school, like they're working their first job for like 3 months, 3 months. And then they're not only are they quitting, they are completely leaving the nursing profession. They're spending 4
Is that because they
years,
wouldn't get the vax?
probably.
Just joking. Just joking.
And on the next episode, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely
3 months and they're
it's
just
insane.
peace out.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. 3 months, and they're like, not only are they just done, like they're done. And so
Did they pull them at like why? Did they give it like a reason?
I don't know. It was kind of like I briefly was glancing through some things one day and I saw some of those numbers but you know, I can tell you, so think about being a brand new nurse, right? Like you went through school, you did pretty well in school. Towards the end of your schooling, this COVID
Not
stuff
as
started.
good as you, old 4.0.
Right.
Don't forget it.
Yeah, seriously, holla. Did you ever tell them about the time that we like competed? Like I was going to graduate college before you because you were trying to be all heroic down in Katrina land or whatever.
We heard about Katrina Land.
Yeah. He
I
like
didn't-
left, so he
He's
like
just
leaves
like,
school to go to
Just
Katrina.
dropped out.
And I like
Hey,
call him
Mom.
up and I'm
Hey,
like, hey
Dad.
bitch,
Peace
guess
out.
who's gonna graduate college before you?
I actually didn't even remember that.
You graduated like 6 months before me.
What's
Check-
the age difference between you two to put that into
Oh,
perspective?
God.
A
She'll-
year and 19 days.
There you go.
Oh,
I was gonna say,
wow.
she
Yeah.
called on the
okay.
head.
Yep,
Yeah.
we're close. So yeah, I was like, can
Is
you
that
imagine?
Irish twins?
Probably no, they're born in the same year, I think,
Oh,
but we're
I
both
gotcha.
Geminis. So I laugh though, because I was like, man, now that I work in labor and delivery, I'm like, could you imagine like having a 3-month-old and finding out you're pregnant, and then having to end up with these two chums? Shit.
I mean, I feel
Wild
like
some bitches, right?
I
Shit.
feel like Tony's living through that right now.
Yeah. We're like in prime. It's like the prime.
Yeah.
Oh. But yeah, so back to the whole nursing thing, like these new nurses, and then you've got like this whole body of nurses that like we kind of actually know what we're doing most of the time, you know, and
I hope so.
we're we're floundering.
He's- right?
It's like mass,
Right?
like too much humility there, a little
joking.
too watered down. No, you have these nurses that know what they're doing, that are sound in their profession, and they're having a hard time. So if you can imagine trying to orient somebody during a time like this when you're already kind of struggling and having a hard time. And so it's kind of, we're not getting, I think, the same quality. And I think a lot of it too is there's not, I mean, staffing is not great. So when staffing's not great, your job's
Yeah.
a lot harder.
So
and-
are you thinking the 3 years is going to take a hell of a lot longer because, like, the seasoned nurses are, you know, it's tough for them and they're not even going to
Yeah.
be able to train. And so now it's going to take 5 years or 7 years. So it may lead to like a long-term skills deficit.
Yeah. What I would like to see is I would like to see the people that are left over, the ones that toughed it out, are the ones we really want anyway.
Yeah.
But we're gonna play a survival of the fittest game, I think, with nursing, and hopefully they can keep up. I know there's a lot of incentives and stuff like that, and there are still a lot of people out there that have that passion for the profession. I think one of the most, I can't tell you that it's true because it wasn't my intention, but one of the little tidbits of information that floats around the most about nursing is that people just go into nursing for the money, and then they find out that, oh yeah, the job is actually a whole ass hard job, and then they decide to drop out. And I'm like, going through nursing school, it never was, I never thought like, oh yeah, easy money, here we
Yeah.
come.
I mean, maybe job security, but
Sure, yeah.
I
and-
never
That's
thought-
different though than
oh, it is.
Yeah.
I never thought of like nurses as like just balling. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
no.
in COVID time.
right
but,
now, if you're
yeah.
a travel nurse,
Oh, yeah.
holler. But
I only became a nurse for the security,
yeah,
you know.
and here we are.
Right.
Find out
Here
in a
we
week
are.
if I lose my job or not.
Well, go take
2022.
that all the way back to something Tony said about the level of experience and depth of experience. How much of that, from what you've seen, have we lost a lot of that, and is it like degrading as a whole because of this whole thing? You know, because that's a big thing. People think like, you know, you take your car to a mechanic, and everyone thinks it's so like, this is this, this is that, and it's real easy. But sometimes it's not real easy.
right.
And then you take the human body and multiply it by however many millions of, you know, difficulty points.
Right.
And then like you realize that sometimes like medicine because living with, Cass and understanding what she goes through and those discussions. Because sometimes like health is almost more like being a witch doctor and sorcery and guessing than
Yeah.
it is,
Oh, yeah.
well, it's always this and it's always this. And, there's so many different parameters and so many different things in the human body. Like, how much of that experience do you see is just being lost? Is it just...
So that's an interesting concept, because one of the things that I think about when I think about the difference between starting in like some specialty like labor and delivery and then feeling 3 years later like you're just kind of getting the hang of it, I think that a lot of people get caught up in like the tasks of nursing. And so there's the difference between the tasks of nursing and actually being able to understand the physiology of the body and the systems of the body and how they're supposed to work and how they're not working and why we're giving what we're giving and how that's supposed to work with a body knowing how it's supposed to work. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So the physiology of the body is something that has always been known through science. So we know how things are supposed to operate and on what measures. So you would hope that across the continuum that most of the people would learn that, but it's combining that in practice with the tasks of taking care of patients that have other needs and comorbidities and things like that make it more complicated. So I think that it's one of those things where it's individualized. If you as a nurse or nursing student can understand that concept and understand that that's going to be the way that you can best take care of your patient and you're willing to do that, then you're going to be a really good nurse. But there's also people out there that will just go through the paces and never really understand why the body is doing what it's doing. They just complete the tasks of giving this medication because the doctor ordered it. And that's kind of dangerous. Right? And those people surprise me a little when they make it through nursing school.
Yeah. I mean, there's been times when you've questioned doctors, though.
Oh, for sure. Like you have to sometimes, though.
And they're like, you said the good ones are like, oh, yeah, you like, wow, you actually caught that. And the bad ones are just like, oh, you're a nurse.
Yeah. And so that's like my own self-checking of being like, okay, I know as a person that I'm intelligent enough that I know what's supposed to be happening here. I'm not just shooting from the hip. You know what I mean? And like making noise when I come and address a concern. I don't know, I guess it's just one of those things. Like there are people that want to make a paycheck, I'm sure. And then there's people that really care about their patients. And those are the kind of people that we want.
You think if you had it to do over again, you'd choose nursing, knowing what you know now?
So, I mean, you kind of know that, like, initially I did not start in nursing. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, and
I figured you're going to be in the FBI.
yeah,
Profiler.
yeah. Talked about that for a
Psychology's
while.
scary.
Right?
Instead, you just kill people.
What? Oh, did you get? Was that? Can we cut?
No, we're just gonna keep on rolling.
I
at
have to
this
start
point.
under my alias now. Thanks.
Yeah,
Ass.
sorry. No, you think you would have gone back? You think you would have chosen nursing, knowing what you know now, or you think you would have done something with psychology or gone to med school and done psychiatry? Or
I mean, I looked at all like the different PhD programs and like the different things that were available for me for psychology. One of the things that I liked the most about it was the research and doing stuff like that.
yeah,
I think that's also one of the things that can make me a valuable asset as a nurse is being able to read research and have an understanding of it and know what parts of it to question.
oh god, more white papers.
I know, right? I know.
Everybody's reading those now.
Yeah,
stockbroker.
everybody's
Yeah,
reading.
Everybody's
Listen.
a virologist, vaccinologist.
Listen.
immunologist.
Everybody's
Let
an
me tell you.
expert.
Everybody's an
Well, here's
expert.
the deal. They teach you how to read. They don't teach you how to understand. So
Ooh.
Ooh.
I was thinking that the other day.
Spoken for
I
truth.
almost sent you guys a text message. It was like, you know what, like the problem with schools is so we have paper towels floating around too.
I just don't want to get wine on your table.
No,
'cause
you're fine.
It's
All right.
beautiful.
It's all right. It was Tyler made it. It's fine.
Tyler made like a quarter of it.
Well, no, he
Did you
was.
say a quarter of it?
No, it was probably at least
Allegedly.
half. I'm gonna give him half.
Spurred by you.
No, spurred by you because you were yelling at me to get it done.
No, I was yelling at him to get it done.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stand out of this fight. I just
Yeah,
didn't
I
want to
don't
get wine on
remember-
the table.
I don't
That's
even
all.
remember what I was saying. now.
Tyler, did you hear that?
I don't even remember what I was saying
You're
now.
listening
Sorry.
in.
Completely lost it.
Sorry.
Hold on.
She said they teach you to read, not to.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was
understand.
teaching you. Yeah,
Thank
I
God
think
someone's paying
yeah,
attention.
yeah, no shit. I think that's a problem with the school. Like, problem with schools is they teach you what to learn, not how to learn,
Right.
because that's a very big difference.
Right. There's school.
Yeah.
Fully get it, fully understand it, totally glad about all of it. It's just like, it's a weird time now, right? So things are a lot different than they used to be. And I always tell my kids, like, I'm going to support you. They're only 9 and 5, but I'm going to support you in whatever you want to do. If you decide to take a job that requires you to go to college, then you go to college. If you want to take a job that's a trade that doesn't require you to go to college, then you don't do that. You do your trade. But whatever it is you do, you make sure that you really enjoy it, because that's starting to be some of the only things that we have left in life to enjoy, is like our work and the people that are around us. And so, yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's a weird time.
Whether you can do both, because we've done the same
For
thing
sure.
where you can. It's like, look, like I believe in you. You can go. You could be an astronaut if you want to.
Yeah.
But guess what? You're gonna have to work for it.
Oh, for sure.
Whatever you want. Like you can do whatever you want. You can be a saxophonist on a Friday night at the local bar or whatever it is.
Looking at Fred's face right now when he makes this up.
Yeah, like whatever you want to do, but you're gonna have to work hard. And
for sure.
And once you decide what you want to do, like you're gonna have to go do it. Like
Yeah.
Jazz flutist.
yeah, whatever it is. But I don't understand the. Maybe not understand, like the way you do what.
You have a mic there too, Cass.
Yeah,
What's up?
what's so funny?
No, it's just you said a jazz flutist, and Tony was talking about
jazz
stories. And
Yes.
Yes.
I just remember Corey being in like 7th grade, and he stood up in front of the class and said, if he could be one thing, it would be a flute. And we all looked at him, and he goes, so everyone can blow me. And I will never forget that. I can.
That's so Corey.
It was so
It's so
Corey.
Corey.
In 7th grade.
I don't know why that
Oh,
popped up.
wow.
It's just, it was young. Like, it was young enough that some people were like, I don't understand why he would want that.
Go to the principal's office
Yeah.
again.
That I feel like that's when it started. Sorry,
That's awesome.
That's
Fantastic
fantastic.
story.
That was definitely worth
Yeah.
grabbing the mic for.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Made you speak. Yeah, I don't know. Once again, whatever I was saying. No, you have to work for it.
Yeah.
You can be whatever you want to be, but you have to work for it. And guess what? At some point, you have to go do you.
Right.
Like you can't live with you're not gonna be 40 years old as I'm 60 and retiring, living in my house. Like you need to go and fly.
Yeah.
At some point.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
So,
Why are you looking at me like that? You're making me.
where are we going next?
Where are we going?
You gonna go back to grad school? You gonna go to grad school? You gonna come to the dark side with me here?
The dark side.
Come to the practice?
I could.
We're gonna unite the clans?
Do the people really want that?
I don't know if they're ready for that.
Yeah.
Two
I was trying to figure out
Adamroviches
exactly like
fucking
how to
shit
yeah.
up. Sorry, Mom.
Adamrovich and Adamrovich. Holy shit.
Sounds like a lawyer office.
Yeah.
A law office, not
Yeah,
a lawyer
law-
office.
yeah.
Not a single human being could pronounce it. They're like, oh my God.
A and A.
Yeah.
What? AA.
Yeah, well, yeah, you couldn't condense it a little more. Come on,
Straight down to
folks.
AA. They're like fucking Alcoholics
bastards and their-
Anonymous.
10-letter last name, Jesus.
Oh, that's funny. I teased someone the other day. I said, yeah, it's pretty much just like all the letters of the alphabet minus Z. Just put them in like any order. It's fine.
Those damn Russians.
That was like this. So like in school, I will never forget college every semester, right? They're like checking the first day to see everybody that's there.
Bjorn.
Yeah. And so like our last name always at the top because it's A.D. Adamrovich. My first name spelled weird, Ciara. And like the professors would literally like,
Ciara.
they'd like
Oh,
look at the list. They do roll call for like the first day, right? Because they want to turn in the people for student loans or whatever that are getting grants from the school that don't show up
Always
to
about
class.
money.
So they're looking down and they're looking up, down, up, down. I'm like, it's probably me. Like, it's just me. They're like, I'm like, yep, Ciara. Just say the whole name. They didn't even try. Yeah,
just say the whole
name.
It's impressive how many expletives people can throw in our last name when they're trying to pronounce it.
That's
Really?
true.
I
yeah.
never saw your name as confusing to pronounce. What have you gotten?
The one part of me that's not confusing, Fred.
That's true. You never responded. He sent a text today, and I was like, I was dying, laughy face, haha. That's such a Tony response. and I have no fucking clue what it means.
That's half our conversation.
Yeah, like I'm like, oh, and I just don't
Fred,
push him.
Nobody
Whatever.
does. He gets the crowd going.
You
Yeah.
send him that, and I send you Dear Quan.
That was pretty funny.
That was funny.
So what have people called you before? Because mine's
Well, dude, they just butcher it. So
Yeah,
there's
they
like
do.
a damn,
Adamrovich.
someone even said
Adamrovic.
a damn bitch one time.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, are you kidding me? It was at a
You
young
must
authors
be talking
concert.
about my
A
sister.
young authors concert in an auditorium full of many people, and like
Mhm.
anyone, like any young kid is going to walk up front to receive their award
from a
after you inserted 2 expletives in their last name.
He's over there with his bourbon, like 12 years old. He's like,
like Julian from Trailer Park Boys.
That's my,
yeah.
that's my name. How are you now?
I don't see it being that hard to pronounce. I don't know. I guess so.
It's probably like
some-
over, like people are trying too hard. Like they can't, that's why I'm always like, it's just what it looks like.
Yeah, maybe.
They're just making it into something.
Yeah, or
completely
it's
different.
I've pitched this to Tony before. If you see like humans on the evolutionary ladder, and if we all have to fit somewhere, some people just don't climb as high.
That's true. I thought this was turning into something where we like have body builds like gorillas or something for it's like the evolution.
Yeah, well, let's put it. There's a
I was like, oh, where do
It's
we
like-
fall?
yeah.
This dude's stopped
Okay.
way down there.
Yeah. So there's a mental and physical.
Still looks like caveman, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a mental
Somehow
ladder.
the brain actually went up the ladder.
I
the
gotta be
physical
at least
ladder.
a couple.
The
Like,
body, I don't know where he's at.
Yeah.
He's banging rocks and shit.
Yeah.
Tony's still like at the bottom, saying, "Nope, want to keep the body.
Those motherfuckers fight dinosaurs.
My brain will climb though."
Saber-toothed tigers.
Oh, so sorry about that. Hard left turn. Woo. Okay.
It's fine.
Oh, yeah. No, go ahead. So we were talking about
I don't know.
reset. Yeah, I could also become a midwife. That was my other thing. That I was
Midwifery.
midwifery.
Is there a
Cool
like a-
whip.
So cool.
You can't.
This is all we always are together.
Yes, it's true.
Oh,
It's just
Is there
miles
like
of
a
smiles and laughter.
is there a need for midwifery?
So there's
Bro,
like
it's midwifery.
there's a midwifery. There's like this interesting kind of positive trend towards I want to say more natural birth, so letting things try to happen more naturally, or like even if we're doing inductions, being a little bit more gentle about the approach, making sure that moms know that they're in control, things like
Sounds
that.
like an airplane. We just want to be a little more gentle in the
Yes.
approach now.
Yes.
Like, oh, you mean when
Ladies
you
and
stick
gentlemen,
the-
this is your captain speaking.
Yeah.
Spread those legs, brace down, and hunker up.
We are going to slide these forceps in as nice as we can.
Oy.
Yeah. Like,
Oh.
I'm assuming that's what you meant by approach.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Just
there literally are
tools
practices
and-
out there that pretty much only induce labor solely based on like the availability of doctors or the schedules of doctors and stuff like that. So,
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I'm just going to stop you
yeah, no,
because
go
there's a
ahead.
question I remembered. So you mentioned that you wanted to keep your numbers low of giving birthing babies.
Yeah.
So I guess one is obviously I'm assuming by you saying that you're trained to do that if needed,
Yes.
but it sounds like you don't necessarily want to do that. But have you ever done that? I guess those three things.
So no, so I haven't done it yet.
Is this are you saying this for legal purposes?
No, I really haven't done it yet. I've come very, very close. I've actually only, so that's one of our other traits is like, I don't know about him. I'm a little bit on the neurotic side when especially like in labor and taking care of patients and stuff. And so that kind of follows through where luckily so far I've timed everything pretty well, because I mean a lot of people don't realize, like people go in the hospital and they think that like the doctor's going to be there and stuff. Like the doctor's up seeing patients while
Right.
we're laboring.
He's on the golf course.
Well, that's
We're
that's
literally
not why.
laboring you until we can see like 3/4 of your baby's head, and then we're calling the
Oh,
doctor.
jeez.
Sometimes the doctor's there for like 15 minutes. They step in, the patient pushes, the baby comes out. They do the cord clamping after they delay it, and then they deliver the placenta. If there's a repair, they do the repair. They're done. They're back to the office.
Well, I'm assuming that's like just in case something extreme happens.
Yeah.
Because we went through that where ours was planned.
Okay.
I mean, she was obviously giving birth to the baby.
Yes.
But like we went there the night before, did all the things, and it was
Yeah.
like, all right, by this time, and like she was just a couple hours early, and it was like, she was like, hey, this is gonna happen. And nurse
I
is
wanna
like,
have this
well,
baby.
like she's like, I can, like, we really love the nurse, but she was like, like I can do that, but really rather wait for the doctor. And we're like, this is gonna happen. They call me like, well, he's stuck in traffic. Like, well, like we've been here for the last 24 hours and he's stuck in traffic. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Labor and delivery nurses are amazing. We loved her. We had her the entire day from the time I woke up, and she ended up staying like 2 hours over shift, like helped transfer me to the next floor. She was fantastic. But just talking to her, just like, passing time, we're like, so have you ever had to deliver a baby? And she's like, I have. It's not great. Like, we don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
But then by the time came, we were like, listen, you said you'd done this before.
Yeah.
Like,
You're
I
doing
can't
this.
keep
She's like,
this
no,
in
no, no.
anymore.
While she puts the
Like-
gloves on, she's
Yeah,
like, we're going to
she's
be fine. I'm just putting
Yeah.
on these sterile gloves just, to ward off all the like bad juju of the
Yeah.
baby's head popping out. There's been like, I've had some like really super close calls. I did have another nurse in the room with me once, and the doctor did not make it in time, and she ended up delivering the baby. But it's just one of those things. It's like, so like when you know that you haven't, okay, so like the quick and dirty, you know how to deliver a baby, but it's not like I go around regularly like a midwife popping into rooms and like delivering babies. And so we're there, but then we've also seen all the various complications of things that can occur. And so we don't want our doctor not there when the baby delivers in case it turns into a situation like that. However, that being said, like you literally
Sometimes you gotta
get these patients.
catch a baby.
Yeah. I mean, you get patients that are like, you got to get to 10 centimeters and they're like 4, 1 contraction, and 2 contractions later, they're 10. And it's like, you can't do anything to stop that train. And so you just make all your phone calls and get all your friends and cross your fingers and your toes and
Put your catcher's mitt on.
yeah. And you look at and the whole time you're doing it, the patient has no idea because you're smiling and you're like, yeah, hey, do me a favor. Go get a pair of those gloves on, please. And they're looking at you like, and you're like, mm-hmm. And they're like, no, don't put her leg in the stirrup. Leave it there. Put her knees together. Oh, we're good. She's going to be here any minute. And you're like, oh, Hail Mary. So it's a lot of fun though. And then, when things go really great, it's really great. So, but yeah, no, not yet. No babies yet. It'll probably happen. I have some crazy stories about things that you always just say like, oh, how is that even possible? That's not possible. And then you work down there and you're like, oh, that's possible. That happened, Like people that there's no way you don't know you're pregnant, right? Like stuff like stuff that you're like, no, how could you never?
Well, I mean, 40% of America is obese, so it is believable.
And then it'll happen and you're like, oh, okay. It like makes sense.
Like,
now.
how far along are they when they realize?
Well, there's some I've heard stories that they're like, oh, I'm going to the bathroom. Whoa, there's a baby. Hey.
Yeah. And like, then you kind of like in retrospect, I think people ask them, right? They're like, so did you not? And like some people are just really that out of touch with like their own bodies.
As in you didn't have a period and you thought that was normal?
Yeah. Like,
yeah, but I think also at the same time I could be I'm speaking way out of my league here.
You're speaking with the wrong equipment.
Literally, I got
other side of the table is talking.
Speaketh Frederick.
I got nurses in
us
every
about your
single
babies,
stage.
Fred.
Speaketh Frederick.
But like, don't like. it just hit me as I was about to open my mouth. I'm like,
Are you going to mansplain for
No,
us about
know.
having
Please,
babies?
please mansplain for the nurse that's here, Fred.
Help us out, Fred. We need you.
I don't have a vagina. Please fill me in on how this works.
We do we need air. Come on, let's do this.
Let me breathe
Talk
in your
to me.
toxic masculinity.
Talk to me.
Sorry, I
suddenly realized why I'm on this side of the table. All right.
Shit.
Please continue.
When a lot of time, maybe, I don't know, it's theoretically possible when you get to be that far overweight that your body's hormones and its systems start reacting differently.
Yeah.
So, like, who knows? Like,
I wish you could just see Tony's face
Tony's
right
always
now.
like,
This freaking scowl.
yeah.
Baseline. This is
It's a-
baseline scowl right here.
Yeah, but I feel like he's more scowling towards the giantly.
He's definitely having some
overweightness
thought.
that
There's
I'm
some
giving
thoughts
the
brewing
thoughts.
in there.
Trying to hide it. It's just not happening.
Is that not true though? When your body gets so far out of
Bro, it's a fucking baby.
Listen, I'm here to tell you,
Yeah, but when you
There
weigh
are
600
literally-
pounds,
there are literally people that are so out of touch with their bodies. Literally.
no, you need to look at him right now and tell
there
him
are
that.
literally people.
'Cause
Should I, yeah. Can I get an echo
Because I
on
believe
this?
it.
There are.
Girl, look at my body. I don't work out.
Is that a baby?
Oh, shit. Oh, my gosh.
So is it?
Oh, I
am
love it.
Am I wrong? Am I
No,
right?
you're not wrong.
Okay.
You're
I
not
don't.
wrong.
You guys, I was gonna say,
Bro,
you guys
I'm not
just
saying
skipped
you're
right
wrong.
over
I just
that.
don't like it.
I am very uncomfortable.
I just want to make sure.
We need to give you a little white flag you can wave when you get really uncomfortable. Peace and
I'm not uncomfortable.
There
I
it
just-
is again,
I just
dude.
don't like it.
Ugh. What is it like on the other side of the table over there? The disgust. It is. Yes, it's palpable. It's tangible. I can taste it.
It's actually in the air.
It smells like burnt
Taste
bologna
it.
and regrets.
Jesus, what was that? Ketchup? Is that ketchup?
Oh,
Is that ketchup and onions?
just rub your whiskers on the mic already. Get it over with. What do they call that shit? The noise stuff?
AS.
The womb broom.
ASM.
No. AS. Is it
I know
that's
what
not
you're talking about.
It's just
ASM.
long enough.
Let me talk
What is
this
it?
whispering voice.
Yeah,
No,
Sing
you-
AM,
you gotta take more out of it.
ASM,
ASM.
ASMR?
ASMR. Yeah.
I don't know where that came from. Suburban talking.
That's- You have wisdom in that
Is it
bottle.
ASMR?
It's ASMR. We've looked this up before,
I know.
but I had to
Wisdom in that
double check.
bottle.
It is.
What are you gonna read it for us? She's like, no, fuck off. Those words are too big.
No, just a bunch of videos pop up.
No, what's it stand for? It stands
I
for-
know.
That
I'm saying
beard
I
mic
have
on
to
the
go
rub's
through
gonna get
all
so
of the
many likes
videos
on
first.
Instagram.
It's got its own page.
Do it
Audio,
again.
It's got its own
sensory.
page.
Anytime our page needs a boost, I just rub my beard on the mic.
Audio.
Hold on, that
Told
was
ya.
me talking for
Told ya.
Aunt. I said beard. That was it.
Yeah, you were all offended earlier because you said something about your
Oh,
chinny chin or something.
yeah, my chin
the hair on the
whiskers.
chinny chin.
Yeah, I mean, we're Italian, so what are
It's
you going to do?
fine. Listen, when I was little, I
I don't
used to ask
know.
my mom why I had so much fur on my arms. So
Yeah. You're like a
it's
werewolf.
true. I really
You have
am.
more hair than me. You might still. I don't know.
Where?
That is not true.
Arms, bro.
No, I
So
think
you're
you
decently
win.
hairy. Mine migrated to my face.
Everybody's hairy
Autonomous
now.
sensory meridian response.
Yeah,
Interesting.
none of us would have got that.
No,
No.
mm-mm.
Sober, even wouldn't have got it.
There was not enough wisdom in that bottle to pull that out from anywhere.
Definitely not.
But I
I
looked it
shush
up.
her.
8% of births use midwives in the United States,
Only 8%.
which
We gotta
ends up
pump those rookie
being like
numbers up.
Are those, like-
316,000 on average.
Are those like home births with midwives though, or are they like hospital births with midwives?
Hey,
So that was kind of what we were getting into. We have a couple different practices that have midwives, and it's a nice little range because you don't end up having to do C-sections, which is really something that I'm not interested in. But you do deliveries, and you can see patients in the office, so you can essentially do like women's reproductive. You can do, I think, PAPs and all that kind of
So
stuff.
a
Take care
midwife
of.
in a hospital.
Yes. So
Okay,
we
not
have-
like a midwife in
so you're
homes
can
because
you,
it's like
so you can be credentialed with your own set of numbers for
yes.
billing for insurance then.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know what
What
that
about
Yeah.
us? Well, it means you can bill.
So
if you,
you
see
can
someone you can
do
bill.
if you have
Oh,
a
I
midwife
gotcha.
on, you can do like women's reproductive health, and then the only thing would be is like I don't want to do home births or anything like that. If I had, if I was
'Cause
under the
that's scary.
discretion of a doctor, yeah, where I could bring a patient into a hospital or something or a birthing center and labor them there, that would be one thing. But like,
I get the allure of that. Like
Yeah.
having my baby in my home, and I get
That sounds like a great sitcom.
Yeah,
whatever.
like
I get the idea, but like, man, something goes wrong.
yeah, there's been like some pretty horrible stories, especially like COVID related stuff. I know there was a housewife, one of the celebrity housewives, was really concerned that her husband wasn't going to be able to be present for the birth of their child because of COVID. and they decided to do a home delivery with a midwife. And from the read on the article, the midwife sounded experienced because the baby ended up being a shoulder dystocia where the head comes out and the shoulder gets stuck in the pelvis. And it's a life-threatening situation for both the mommy and the baby, especially. In the article, there's some specific medical terms that we use for positions that we try with the mom to relieve the shoulder. And they had mentioned some of that stuff in the article, which led me to believe that she had probably a pretty experienced midwife. But unfortunately, it was a big, big baby. And that's one of the other things, you have to be able to know those types of things to
And the
know what's
baby-
safest for your patient.
The baby didn't make it.
No, the baby did not make it.
The mom make it.
The mom made it. They revived the baby, but the
Jeez.
baby had been without oxygen for quite a while.
That's terrible.
So yeah, it's absolutely horrifying, and that's the other spectrum where I sit here and say I'm not really interested in doing C-sections. Well, crap, it doesn't excuse me from things like that happening to me.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things that people want to take on these jobs, and maybe that's what some of nursing is, like that allure of. I mean, it's not so alluring anymore, but that
No.
allure of being able to care for people when you don't really actually understand what your true responsibility could all entail. So going into that a little bit, when I went into oncology, when I first started my nursing career, I had Duke.
Oh, I remember you had an opportunity to go and do something crazy there.
I
Because
did.
I remember that phone call.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in the parking lot and you were like, "Hey, I got some big news for you.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
preggers," and I was like,
Oh,
"Yeah,
we're gonna have a baby. Actually, it's funny, like this Monday, because I remember it was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It will be like 10 years to the day that I found out I was pregnant with Roic. So, but yeah, I graduated from nursing school and I had my degree in psychology. Didn't really know what I had wanted to do. Thought about doing a PhD program, but none of that really felt like it was going to be like sustainable long term for me to like really, I don't know, just really be something that I enjoyed. So Anthony was in nursing school at the time and he said, "Hey, like what about psychiatric mental health nursing?" And yeah, so I started looking into that. And at the time I was like, well, maybe that's something I'm interested in. Well, you have to go to nursing school. So there I went. He went into this accelerated program through Med Central. And then the year that I went, Ashland had bought them. So it was the first year that it was Ashland University. It's like the Dwight Shire College of Nursing.
I didn't know that they'd acquired that at that point."
Yeah, it was like the first year, and they offered an accelerated program. So I actually got my Bachelor of Science in Nursing in 14 months.
Yours was 14? Jesus, you're
14
always beating me, you
months.
bastard. I was 15.
Wow.
Mine was supposed to be 12.
The only thing I can't do better than you is grow a beard. So
Come on now.
Guy.
We're going to have the Adamrovich
Hit me with
Olympics
your
because I'm
test
game
shot.
for that. Told you.
That was good.
Yeah,
That was good.
yeah. So
I heard you
I
got some pipes.
holler.
Keep drinking that wine.
Whoop, whoop. So yeah, I did that. It was a freaking whirlwind. If you can imagine getting like a 4-year degree in like 15 months,
I
and
know.
every single person in the program had a bachelor's degree already in something else. So it was like the most dog eat dog shit that I've ever gone through in my entire life.
Hold on, so you guys, it sounds like you had people that actually like paid attention.
Oh
and
my
were, like,
gosh,
smart.
dude. We would all study together like we were
people that were smart.
Oh,
paid
we
attention.
would study together like we were chum, and then after the test was over, it was like the hatred would just seethe out of everybody.
So you
No-
guys were like battling each other. like,
Oh, nobody
competing.
would tell each other their scores on their test. It was
it for like
insane.
any specific reason? Like, was there like a jobs at the end of it that you thought that?
I don't know.
She's like,
competitive.
Yeah, everybody
but
was just
why?
like
I
super
don't know.
freaking
That was
competitive.
bro. That was not me. Like I remember she was like, "Hey, I got a 4.0. I beat your ass," and I was like, "Hey, I got a 3.5, and I went to the bar like 4 days
Yeah.
a week."
and we have the same certification.
Look at us now.
Well,
Yeah, I so went into nursing school, did this program, got to psychiatric mental health nursing rotation, and I was like, "Ooh, okay, no, no,
That sounds
no, thank
tough.
you." Yeah, it was, and it was at Med Central too, and it was like real tough. And I was just like, I don't know. I mean, looking back, I probably could have found like the fulfillment in it, but I think more than anything, it kind of startled me up a little bit. But I was already at the point where I really enjoyed nursing, like.
You would have needed more autonomy to do that.
Yeah, oh,
So
for sure.
You would have had to be a psychiatrist, or you would have had to be a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner.
Yeah.
Well, I think that takes a special person too, because
Yeah,
I know
it definitely
we've
does.
talked to social workers and different people like in that field of psychiatric health when people are not well. It's different than like, oh, like this person goes to, a therapist or something like
Yeah.
that. But when somebody's not well, it's like, one, it's how much can you help that person physically, but mentally.
Right.
Sometimes you just can't. You can only help them so much.
You can't get in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just seeing it and like I can only imagine the mental, especially because of that field, you're always thinking and
Right.
contemplating these things, and just being it like daily being in contact with people that have at one point or another like had this trigger go off, and just like it's one thing to have like in the medical field, like something happens with your leg and sorry, we're gonna have to amputate it.
Yeah.
But we have prosthetics. You
We
can
have
walk.
things, we can do
you can do
this,
these,
yeah.
but sometimes pieces of the mind are lost that are just
You can't get those back.
what
That's what that's for, Brad.
I don't know. Well, it's like I just heard somebody
It's really
talking the other day about how they used to do like lobotomies in like the center of New York City, and it was like as like a just like the mind has always been a scary and fantastic thing. And, like,
Yeah, it really is.
The other thing that I'm surprised you actually didn't go into is neuroscience. So I could have
Yeah.
seen you getting your PhD in neuroscience.
Yeah, I don't know. I just looked at a lot of things and nothing like really jumped out at me. And that was one of the things we talked about, the security of nursing. I think the thing that really drew me to nursing after I was already like in nursing school was the flexibility of like what you can do and still not have to do so many additional things, like the different specialties you can go into
Yeah.
with your BSN without having to go back and get this and go back and get that and tweak this a little and tweak that a little. It keeps it kind of lively, especially while you're looking for something that you want to settle in, I guess, as a nurse. So I don't know. I really enjoyed all of my different experiences, and I don't think that I would really take back any of them. I really enjoy what I'm doing now, though. And so, yeah, like we had talked about earlier, next step, probably like an NP or midwifery.
Midwifery?
Midwifery.
I think you should do the NB. I think we should definitely, we should do a practice together. So either or the things that I do,
I'll
I
be
think
your
you'd enjoy.
secretary.
Bro, you don't need to be a secretary. You could be, you could do what Glenn does easily. If we did a hormone replacement
Like an
clinic.
analyst
go.
and
Yeah, but I do. So
customer.
I think honestly, what you would enjoy too is the addiction with the mat stuff. So because you're doing the psych aspect
Yeah.
and you're helping people with substance abuse.
Yeah. So we talk about like those people that end up like in the psych wards and stuff. And then we go like, okay, like we had an outbreak here, but like what's our baseline look like, you know? And then you have to also remember that those people get sick and they get pregnant. And so like they're out,
Yeah.
you know, in all the communities and all the different areas. And so it's like a collaborative effort to try to take care of those people and get them the support that they need. That's another part where we really struggle is we struggle getting people the support that they need.
Yeah.
As a nation, I'm talking, you know, it's sad.
Internationally.
Some of the stuff that you see and some of the stuff that you have to wade through with people is intense.
Yeah. Well, I think that's one thing too that we see a lot of people complaining about a lot of things these days,
Yeah.
but not taking the time to maybe imagine what other people are going through.
Sure. Nobody wants to wear anybody else's shoes anymore.
Yeah, even as in this nation as good as we have it, there's people that there's somebody out there that has it worse than you, and then abroad in these other nations and different around the world, it's like there's so much out there that is so much different and difficult and just in general harder.
Well, and who went out and told everybody how easy it was to be a squeaky wheel? Because it seems like that's all we have anymore is just a bunch of squeaky wheels, people that just talk and talk and talk and talk. And they don't really, I always tell my friends, like, if you don't want to try to think for yourself or do your own research, that's fine. But at least be smart enough to go find somebody that's done the research and piggyback on the kinds of things that they're saying, or at least take the time to maybe believe them. Because nowadays it's just everybody wants to make noise about something.
Except those people are getting canceled.
Oh, I didn't think we were in the right generation to be able to cancel people. I thought we were just stuck here with everybody.
Canceling left and right.
Oh, all right. Well,
Are we canceling now?
No, we're not canceling. I'm just saying when she said if someone doesn't have, the knowledge of the wherewithal to
oh yeah, we just
seek
don't
out
even...
someone who's an expert, and I said those experts are being canceled.
Oh yeah, they are. It's sad. It's like, I always make this joke with people. They say, you know, you just say something that's completely off cuff. You're like, yeah, the sky is purple. That's kind of like where we're at now. It's like, the sky is blue. No, it's not. It's purple. Oh, okay. So we're just,
Making shit up.
yeah, we're just going to make shit up now. That's kind of how it is sometimes.
It feels that way. Let me go back to OB here real quick.
Yeah.
I heard that there weren't as many babies this year. Is that true? Do you guys have the statistics?
Gosh, that's a good question. We do have the statistics, but I don't know what they are yet.
Okay.
I can tell you.
So I asked Whitney actually, and she was like, "Hey, we definitely didn't have as many births this year as we
Okay.
typically do."
Yeah.
Do you think people were like, because of COVID, they were like, "Oh man, like we probably shouldn't have babies because we don't want to have a baby during COVID."
I mean, it's possible, but like also, you know what numbers I would like to see? I would like to see like how many people had babies last year at our hospital, kind of like relative to like the community area, and then see like the next year, because I mean, some people aren't trying to have babies every year. So we're a smaller community, like in my mind. And so I think if we have a year where we have a lot of babies, I would expect maybe the next year we wouldn't have so many. But COVID definitely, I would think, could be related. I don't know.
It's
just-
hard. It could go either way.
Yeah.
Well, I just heard some stories of different people, and they're like, "This was terrible. Like I couldn't have my family in there with me." And they're like, "Who the hell wants to have a baby right now when you can't, kind of enjoy what you were saying?"
It's interesting that you say that because so far my experience at the bedside with the patients is, so right now the way that it sits is that our labor and delivery and like C-section patients can have 2 support people. So the dad's obviously usually the one, and then the mom can have another one, whoever she designates. With the COVID restrictions, it has to stay those 2 people the whole time, but like they can both be there through the whole stay. Like initially when we started, it was just one support person, just one, nobody could swap out, no special circumstances, nothing. And then it turned into 2 for labor and delivery and recovery. And then after the recovery period was over, it was just down to 1 for the rest of the stay. So now we're up to 2 that can stay, but we just can't switch who they are.
But that's pretty decent though, because I mean, I saw some stories about like people on their deathbed in the hospital, or people
But
like,
yeah, and they wouldn't
having a
let
baby
anybody
and
in.
nobody
Yeah.
at all. Like you can't have one person there for a birth or a death. Like
Yeah.
I'm probably going to jail
Yeah.
if I was that person trying. Like
There's-
how can they even like? It's just mind blowing. Some places did that.
There's rigidity in the wrong areas sometimes, and I don't know why, because you'd think that there'd be enough empathy there that maybe you could help people see a little bit more clearly the importance of human life, but it's one of those things that we like, we always end up taking pretty much everything for granted because we get used to it, and so it loses its allure or whatever, and before we know it, we might be taking advantage of it or just not giving it the attention that it deserves, or the appreciation rather that it deserves. But it's a little bit mind-boggling to me, definitely. I had some pretty strong feelings about like not letting people who are on their deathbed have visitors and stuff like that. And some people
Yeah, what are you going to infect them with COVID and kill them? Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. They're already dying.
Yeah,
Way to use
so
way
insane.
to use your brain, Brad. Look at
Yeah.
your brain on Brad.
Look at that big old brain. But yeah, so I've actually found quite a few of our patients that even though they can opt for that second support person, they don't. They don't even opt for the second support person. I've had moms that sometimes on their second day, they'll be like, "Hey, am I allowed to have another person?" And we're like, "Yeah, you can." And then they're like, "Okay." And then they never do, Every once in a while we get some complaints, but it seems like the complaints are pretty few and far between. And a lot of the patients have ended up saying afterwards that they've been glad that there haven't been so many visitors. They can focus on different things like breastfeeding and learning how
Right.
to take care of their baby. And we've started moving towards doing like all of our newborn testing. So there's all this testing that gets done when the baby's 24 hours old. I shouldn't say a lot. It's not a lot of things, but there's some stuff that has to get done. And we used to do it in the nursery, and now we do it in the room to provide the parents with more education. And so just kind of moving to that and being present more at the bedside, patients are kind of more like, this was actually a really nice, intimate experience, and I'm glad there wasn't a bunch of extra hustle and bustle because I was having trouble with breastfeeding or,
Right.
struggling with this or whatever. So It's been a little bit nice, and it's kind of been nice for us too, because I feel like I can do a little bit of a better job when it's more of a one-to-one focus where the patient's focused on me and I'm focused on the patient. So
That sounds really nice.
Yeah.
I mean, to be able to have that kind of intimate, like as a newborn. I mean, I'm not planning on doing it again, but if like
we got a no here from Cass too.
yeah,
We got a
no.
confirmation.
That's
no.
a hard no.
Yeah, hard no.
I
But
saw
like,
those eyes.
we had a good experience, but still, like,
Yeah.
but the idea of like not having anybody allowed there
Yeah.
to support the person, like,
So it's kind of like
that's insane.
it's kind of like one of those things where like you usually sleep through the night, right? But then if they tell you can't have anything to eat or drink after midnight, you're like up all night like hungry, and
Yeah,
people
you would do it
anticipate really
anyways.
wanting all that, and then
Right.
when they don't get it, they're like, actually, you know what, that was kind of nice.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, I definitely, we are a floor where we will go to bat for our patients, and if there is a reason that we think that someone else needs to be there that's not there, or something needs to happen, we will collectively give our greatest effort to see if we can make that happen for a patient. So, and that's one of the things that, like, COVID, great. Okay. Go ahead and talk about all the other things that we're not doing that we should be doing, but then you're not going to let somebody in to see like their dying family member. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like the lens is skewed a little bit, and we've kind of lost our focus on the quality of human life. That's one of the reasons a lot of people try to bring up the numbers and stuff to me, and I say I don't. They get appalled at me when I say I don't look at the numbers. I don't.
Which numbers?
Just COVID deaths and the
Oh.
COVID numbers and everything like that.
Yeah, I actually had a patient the other day, and he was an NP, but he was at like a hospitalist NP, and he actually said something that was fantastic. And I stopped him and I was like, "Dude, I appreciate you. Like hearing you say that." He was like fully vaccinated, and he said, "But it should be a choice." He goes, "There's no way it should be mandated." And he said, everyone comes in here and they're always talking about the numbers and this and that and vaccinated. He goes, "Dude, I don't look at any of that bullshit." He said, "I have sick patients in front of me." He said, "I don't care what your statistics are. Here's my job. I don't care if you're vaccinated or not vaccinated. My job is to save your life, and I'm going to do that." End of
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
I was like, "Bro,
and
I love you."
it trickles down. There was a girl that was on, I don't know, social media somewhere, and this is what she said. And this is one of the things that, like, I try to make people understand, because they're like, you don't look at the numbers, you don't do this, you don't do that. I said, listen, I work in the hospital. No beds means no beds.
Yeah.
And that's what this girl on social media said. And she's completely right. Forget your COVID. No beds means no beds. It doesn't mean no beds for
Regardless of-
COVID patients, or it means no beds for COVID patients, no beds for MIs, no beds for strokes, no beds for anybody, no beds. And just because we don't have any beds, there's no magical wand out there that says, okay, there will be no heart attacks tonight. There will be no full arrests. There will be no, you know what I mean? That stuff's going to happen anyway. And so I encourage people to do whatever they feel like in their moral mind is right, to take the precautions that they need to take the best care of themselves, so that they don't end up in a situation where they potentially could need some life-saving measures that are not currently available to them.
Well, just dropped the hammer on that
How
one.
dare you sound so rational?
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Well, that's
What's in my bottle?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah,
How
what
dare
was
you?
that?
How dare
Wow.
you, woman?
No more
splaining this to
sips
me?
here. I just went
Yeah.
on cruise control.
Yeah, you could have just walked out right after
Wow.
that mic drop. Well, that's the whole thing. Like, when using COVID as an example, the whole
Drop it.
the whole thing started, it was like, look, like I wouldn't go visit my grandma if I had the flu either,
Right.
or if I, even if I had like a little coughing and stuff, like I'm not gonna go like hug my 85-year-old grandma. I'm just not going to, because I know I'm sick. Her
Common
immune
sense would tell
system-
you not to. But
right.
So
So,
wait,
like,
have you guys had any moment since COVID started where you've seen something that was commonplace in all your years past and you were like, that is fucking disgusting?
explain.
So like,
Blowing out birthday candles.
thank you. That's exactly where I was
Yeah,
going
that's
with
probably the
that.
best
We're like,
one.
why did we do that?
well,
Listen,
I never
so
really ate birthday cake anyways, but
there was a
I
girl
totally get
at
it,
work
yeah.
that was at a family member's birthday party, and they blew out the candles on the cake, and every single person at the party that ate the cake got COVID, and everybody that didn't
Oh,
eat the cake did
no.
not get COVID.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, what did they like sneeze on the cake, or like
So I don't know.
Was
if
it
it would
a
be,
kid
spat on
though?
the
Because
cake?
kids are
Right.
gross.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've always kind of had a a rule of like, all right, if this kid is like, I'm gonna say like 10 or under,
Yeah.
not eating the cake.
I'm
I
good
feel like
on
I've
that
always
cake.
kind of before eating.
Listen,
before
I
going.
must really like cake because I never
Yeah.
had that. I was like, when we eating the cake.
Luckily, I'm not a huge fan of cake, so maybe
So
that's why.
Now you're gonna get COVID tested to be able to blow your candles out.
Yeah. No, we don't need that. I don't think.
We don't need what? The cake? I
The
think
candles.
I think Ciara is saying
No,
that
we
we
don't
need
need
the
to be
cake.
blowing. I think it's we need
we
a
need
cake
the
with a
cake.
cupcake that's decorated similarly to
Yeah.
blow the candle
All
out.
right.
It's probably the
We could
better
just do like a quick wafting.
idea.
See if you
No, they could use the cupcake and
get the leaf blower out.
BR 800 coming at you. Holy shit! You blew the cake off the table. So hold on, I'm gonna switch this up a little
Yeah,
bit.
go ahead.
No. So we kind of talked about nursing. That's an integral part. That's a big part of your life. Yoga. So that's another huge part of your life as well. And you, Cass, Unite the Clans. Talk about that a little bit.
well,
as a passion of yours.
So, like, if we're being honest, most of the talk I would do about yoga would be in the past because I haven't really been doing that much yoga lately. I've just been lifting.
How dare
I
you?
know,
Utilizing those
I
Adamrovich
know.
jeans.
I know. But yeah, I definitely.
So what is like? Why did you get involved with yoga in the first place? Like, what got you involved?
Yeah, because Cass used to tell me that you were a yogi-ish
Yogi?
type person.
So originally it was like the movement. It was the movement, it was the poses, it was the difficulty of the execution of all of that because I was still at that like very toddler phase of the whole yoga experience, I guess, where you're like thinking like, yeah, I want to do a freaking headstand and I want to do crow because that looks cool and stuff like that.
So it was like
and
a challenge at first. Is that what it was?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It was like just challenging at first and like a way for me to work out. And then
Okay.
when I started going to classes, they're like, there's like breath work and shit. There's like breath work and shit that you also have to do while you're doing these poses. So here I am thinking like, right, you go and you're like, I'm in pretty good shape. It's going to be pretty good. And then you start doing the breath work and you're like, this is literally where I die. This is it for like, this is where I die.
But did you die?
You know what? I
did
didn't
you
die. I did not die. So, and then it kind of turned into this whole experience with, I don't know, like there's a lot of self-discovery that can happen when you start doing movements and breath work. And it's a really interesting way. They talk about like the different chakras and like energy areas in your body. And like a lot of people want to roll their eyes and like.
Did you say chakra or chakra?
Chakras.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Sorry.
And a 1 and a 2 and a 3.
I've got she's your sister.
Oh, I told you this is the female
You just
version
like
of it.
gave up on me. Did you see that
You
shit?
did,
He's
you
like,
did.
oh God,
Oh,
move the
God.
mic
Yeah.
out. Ugh.
Yeah. The irreverence
Ugh.
is too much.
No, this is the most I've ever heard Tony talk. This is great.
That's
It's
why I
the
brought her
last
on.
ever episode of Chronic Curiosity.
Oh, this is
That's what it
great.
is.
No, this is
Oh.
fantastic. Sorry, chakras.
Hold on, I
Chakras.
gotta
Chakras.
Hold on, can I ask
Chakras.
you a quick question? I have to ask.
Are any of
this.
your questions quick? Go on.
No, this will be kind of quick.
Go on with the slang.
This will be kind of quick. So you got to imagine you were getting into some of these poses that were unnatural, and you hadn't been in these poses before.
Okay.
Do you
Oh
ever?
God, where's this going?
Did you ever fart in class?
No, I never farted in class, but there were definitely literally
Oh,
days
yeah.
when I was like, please don't fart. Please don't fart. Please don't
Were
fart.
there other people that you were like,
Oh, for fuck's sake,
mother
yes.
of God?
Yes.
She said, for fuck's sake. Yes.
Because like if you like okay to hear it is like one thing, but then when they're
So were
like
these
silent
audibles
but
or these
deadly,
silence? SPDs?
sometimes audibles, sometimes just like. And you're like,
Stings
oh my
the
God, I didn't
nostrils.
hear it. Is that me? Like if it makes no noise, do you
Oh,
even
no.
know? Did it come out of your own asshole?
Doesn't really count at that point. That's
It's like
fantastic.
fucking going into the bathroom at the gym when somebody's just lit that shit up,
my
and you're like,
God.
the next person that
Yeah.
comes is gonna think it's me.
Yeah, that's a Zephyr special.
Yeah,
Dude,
I walked down there like,
You're like, bro, calm down the
Ah,
protein shakes.
I just-
Your
I
butthole
just-
can't handle anymore.
I just had to
Who
change
is
my
this
shorts.
girl?
I just had to
my
change my.
God.
That's not me. It wasn't me. But that makes you seem more like it was
Oh,
you.
yeah, it's fucking. Oh,
So aggressive.
it's so bad. Oh.
So no, but you've definitely experienced surrounders.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just lighting it up.
You just gotta like work
fire
through
them
it.
up.
You just gotta work through it. I also had an instructor come up to me one time after class and tell me that they didn't want to embarrass me, but they just wanted to let me know that my yoga pants were see-through and maybe I should consider not wearing them to the next class.
The old vagina made an appearance.
I was like, thank you for waiting till the end of this 90-minute
Yeah,
hot
exactly.
yoga class.
Yeah, I could have been on
And
OnlyFans and made some money
walking
if I was going to
behind
have that
me.
much exposure.
Refocus that
I should
camera.
have looked him dead in the face and be like, that'll be $22.50.
Check your cash.
I also take Venmo. Cash App.
I want to know afterwards which teacher it was to gauge what their.
Oh, wait, am I on camera? That was not the vagina sign that
actually
was
still
coming out,
recording.
by
I
the
was
way.
like, what was this? What is that?
I should have just gone with the international sign language. Yeah, so that's fine. Your dog is allowing me to use it as a footstool. I was like, why is my foot on the dog?
Raised
She
up,
does that.
levitated.
She'll move.
Okay, so sorry, I had to ask that question. But
No, yeah, so much
back
fun.
to the yoga.
I don't even know.
I
what's
will
a-
say though, like the very first, every single hot power class I've ever done, I thought for sure that I was gonna die.
Whoa. Hot power
Hot
class.
power. They turn the room up to like
How hot?
Is it 90? No, it's a 90-minute. It's like a 90-minute class,
What's
and
what's the heat?
it's like radiant heat panels in the ceiling.
Do you get heat shock proteins?
I don't know what that is, so probably
Just
yes.
watch Joe Rogan one
Gross, I
time.
don't know what that is, so probably.
So like I claimed it
Just
anyway.
watch Joe Rogan one time.
That's fucked up, right?
No, how hot? Like
Definitely.
80,
I don't
90?
like over 90.
Why
That's
would you do
gross.
that to yourself?
Right? That's what I say like 15 minutes in.
Unless you're smoking peyote and you're in a hot tent. Why would you
I don't
do
know.
that?
And I
like-
refuse to go in the back too because I'm like, then I'm going to leave because I'm like, oh, fuck this. I'm out.
I like
That's
a good
so
sauna,
hot.
though. Like a good sauna session's nice. and
Yeah,
it-
but
it's
like not when
that,
you're
but
moving like
movement.
that. So once you start incorporating the breath work, you
Yeah,
realize
bro,
that
not
you're
when your asshole's in your face and you're doing some crazy positions.
What?
Yeah.
Why is my asshole in my face?
It's called yoga.
No, I've been to
what
a
do they
yoga
call?
class. I've
Actually, I
been
think
to
that
yoga
position is
before.
called plow, believe it or not. Tell me I'm wrong, Cass. I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong.
Sign me up.
I gotta see
I'm not
this.
wrong.
No, I have to see it because I've been to multiple yoga classes and I've
You have
never
not been
been
doing
plowed.
a
been plowed.
90-minute hot yoga.
Thank God, Fred.
Not
When we
saying-
had to learn assist,
not
I
saying
was
that I
like, please
wouldn't
tell me
like
there's no
it.
assist for plow. Like, you know what I mean?
Hold
They
on,
teach
what's
you
an
all-
assist? Like someone helps you?
So yeah, like the instructor goes around and like
One
assists
person,
you in
two
the position.
persons?
Usually just one, whoever's teaching the class.
What's your favorite yoga position?
Favorite yoga position, I would say, is pincha.
Pincha?
Pincha.
Explain this to me.
You have a
Pincha-
solid pincha.
Thank you.
You do.
Thank you. Is there a camera on your face too? I hope. I hope I'm not getting all the camera time over here because you definitely deserve more than me. I'm just gonna say that.
No, explain the pincha to me.
So pincha, it's like pincha mayurasana, I
Whoa
believe
now.
is the
Whoa
full
now.
term for the pose. It is a forearm stand.
Okay.
So it's where you go up on your forearms and your whole body is supported by your forearms. So you go into first what's called like a dolphin pose where your elbows are about
Okay.
shoulder width apart. And yes, you have to make the noise when you do it or
I
it doesn't
figured as
count.
much.
You have to have like elbows and forearms on the ground and you go upside down essentially.
I need to.
Or
I'm gonna have to
pincha.
see some pictures of these.
Here.
Yeah, we're sorry. Technical. She'll
That's
get
all right.
some
Pincha.
pincha and plow.
Pincha and plow.
Where you stick your face in your butthole.
Okay, so
Holes, bro.
All right,
It's
no,
so
plural.
here's
It's
plow
plural.
up here.
Oh, yeah. No, that's not your. Well,
I mean, if you're flexible, you're getting that's the one pose that I can think of that you would get the closest to your butthole in yoga.
yeah.
That's
you think
the
of anything
closest you would
else,
get.
Cass?
Why
I
would
don't
they
know
leave it
that
plow?
Ashanga. There's some different ones in there.
The
Isn't there some
Shanga.
kind of like frog pose or something that's pretty? Oh wait, the one. Yeah, I think it's where you are down. Remember, your arms are underneath your thighs and they're like flat on the ground, and you're.
I mean, I remember seeing that.
That's
I
an
don't ever
Ashtanga,
remember.
but I don't remember what.
No,
the name
definitely
of it
never
is.
been in that.
Jeez, Fred,
So,
come on.
What we're
Just-
saying is, yoga girls are flexible.
yoga
what
girls
it's-
are flexible.
I mean, some yoga girls are flexible. The rest of
Oh,
us
that's
just
true.
kind of work our way there.
Don't
eventually.
include yourself in the rest of us because you're definitely very good at yoga.
But it sounds like they fart.
It's very
Also,
normal,
who
Tony.
doesn't, though?
Everyone farts.
Everyone
Do we need to
does
get
it.
you the book that everyone poops? There's a
No.
little book
That's for
like
sure
that.
true.
If you're offended by everyone farting, you probably haven't been to enough yoga classes to do us accept it yet.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to sign me up.
I can only imagine you in there with like
I
your
can-
beard
I
dripping
can
sweat and like your man bun,
Like
and
a-
you'd
like
probably
a
be
turbo
sounding like
vet.
you were in the gym, like
All right, here's
squatting
Pinta. Look
1,000
at this
pounds.
jacked. Look at this jacked chick
Yeah.
here.
Like a gorilla.
Oh yeah,
Those
Yeah.
shoulders.
Ooh, so that's your
That's
Pincha.
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 that's
Yeah.
pretty.
So
that's
is this
impressive.
so this yoga stuff? Is
This is yoga stuff?
is this like India? Is that the origination from the yoga? Where's this come
No,
from?
I felt like it was more east than that.
China,
No,
No, not China.
Nepal. How far east are we going?
don't
I said
know.
India, bro. How fucking far east are we
That's
going?
Southwest Asia.
How east are we going?
I don't know what South
I
Middle
think
Asia.
it's India.
Is it
Yeah, I
India?
think it is.
Okay, so
I
what
think
I'm
that's
asking
right.
is, if these words, like, do they translate? Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, so it,
Oh.
like, well, so we've
What's
termed
pincha
it
mean?
forearm stand. So
Pincha translates to forearm
forearm
stand,
stand. So
Literally
or that's just what we say.
northern
because we're
India,
American.
northern India,
in the mountains.
and
Where they're blasting away with ivermectin.
Jesus. Fine. Fine. You want to talk about aliens next,
Feathered
Tony?
peacock.
Where they're boofing ivermectin.
feathered peacock or
Feathered.
forearm balance pose.
I like the
So
feathered peacock.
It probably means feathered peacock. I think what you're technically
What kind of
supposed to do
peacock
is,
doesn't have feathers?
well, I think once your feet are up in the air like that, you're
Probably
supposed
one that
to
did ivermectin.
your
'cause
toes.
it's
You know what I mean?
supposed
To
to
make it
work.
look like a. Yeah,
That's
I
real
actually
fancy.
know
I
an
didn't know that.
uncanny amount of things about peacocks, don't I?
I don't know. I don't know anything
I
about
do.
that.
We had
Well,
peacocks.
Oh, you did. You guys did have peacocks.
So it's like the
owned
craziest,
peacocks.
crazy peacock story ever.
Let's hear it.
Yes.
So
So they've had different birds. Talk about
yeah,
your
we've
birds
had
here.
lots of different birds. So Jed, the father of my children.
Hold on. If you were, would you call yourself a aviarist or what would you say?
Oh, I don't know.
Aviary?
Oh, something else to add to my resume. You think they'd hire me? Be like, I know a lot
I
about
pulled that one up
peacocks."
for you, Ciara.
Oh yeah. So hold on. It's
Oh, the Karna
Yeah.
Bro, there's some positions
Yeah.
way closer to the buttholes than that.
Karnapadasana? Did I say that right?
Like, that dude is
Halasana.
self-filleting in that picture.
Yeah, it could
No.
be glorious.
That's
There's
definitely
no
going to be one of
way.
the farting poses.
There's no way his dong is that long.
Maybe.
Pindasana. If you don't fart in Pindasana, you're not doing it right.
I can see that.
Or your butthole catches some air up there, and when you come
Straight.
down, you just
Well, it's the highest elevation. Really, it
the
air, right?
highest
Yeah,
elevation.
it air's automatically.
You
gonna go
peaked
that
there.
way.
K2 of yoga.
Yeah, that's what it is.
hope you got good abs.
Bro, what's that dude doing over at sea? They don't even name that. They're like, this dude just fucking around
Listen,
doing some
I've done that
windmills and shit.
before, and it fucking sucks.
Yeah. They're like,
No, he's breakdancing.
they're like
there.
that dude's on ketamine right there.
He's actually
That's going
mid
to be the new COVID pose for maximum respiratory capacity. Straight fucking upside down.
That is the cure to COVID, is what you're saying?
Instead of like the reverse.
Oh, you have
Instead
Delta?
of prone.
Exhibit C.
We will now hang you from your ankles.
Flawless victory.
CDC. Can't decide
Make that-
consistently.
Make that meme. The CDC now says.
Yeah.
Put this up.
Two
there.
in this.
How about the Mukahasta Sirsana? You'd be like, this is what you must do. It's
I
like
think
an
I
upside
ordered
down
that at
corpse.
Aladdin's Eatery.
Jesus Christ.
I'll take B, please. Just B.
The Mexicans did it right when they just put numbers on their menu.
Numbers.
I thought I was
I'm like, listen.
I thought I was a reverend.
They think I'm saying thank you for the order, but I'm really saying thank you for not making me say that to you.
Bro, I told
I'll take
you.
a 54 thank
I don't know
you.
if you were ready for this.
Oh, I'm ready.
Oh.
The yogis.
Yeah, it's sad. I should be a little bit more involved. I went through that class and I got certified as a yoga instructor and stuff like that, but I really wanted to. It was one of those things that I wanted to try to learn as much about it as I could in a short period of time. And so going through that training was like a really good way to take like a couple weeks and like learn the proper positioning for the poses and like the breath work and, you know, all the other stuff.
How
So
to not fart in public.
yeah,
Well, even
how to have the
Wait.
tightest butthole.
There you go.
in the
Night,
county.
keep your butthole
yeah,
tight.
get your
Nah.
you practice your sphincters.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about when Cass went through
She's
it.
like, I'm literally doing kegels right
I have such a stone cold poker face. You have no idea.
Yeah, if you need to use a restroom at any point in time, we can
He's
just
like-
stop. Or
The whole reason
whatever.
I'm on the side of the table is slowly evolving and why I'm by myself.
There's the
Just
ventilation
in case you
in
want to
this
do some
room.
Kegels over there, you're solo.
Ventilation in this room is not great.
Wait, are you saying I shouldn't do Kegels right next to somebody?
They'll
Should I have
never
that
know.
much room?
They'll never know.
I didn't think so.
Could you please move 6
This
feet
whole
away? I'm about to
time-
do some Kegels.
This whole time I thought I was
You
being.
need 6 feet for Kegels?
It's a hell of a kegel. It's a hell of a kegel.
I'm
Make
working
sure
my
nothing
way up
gets
to
out of
that.
hand.
I'm working my way up to that level.
Stage 10 kegels.
Step down Richter scale.
But you said something about, I don't remember. Oh, learning, going through the training.
Yes.
When Cass went through it,
Yeah.
it was like, if nothing else, like for the personal growth
Oh, for
of just
sure.
going through the whole experience.
sure, 'cause
I don't know what all it
you
means,
sit
but
there
it
and you
seemed
go,
like it was experience.
Look at my bullshit. Look at all my bullshit. Look at it. It's so ridiculous. Like, what are you doing? What? Yeah, it kind of gives you one of those what are you doing moments, which is like really great and also maybe a little bit dangerous at the same time. But it definitely gives you, it was nice for me too, because when I did it, the kids were pretty little. And so I feel like as a mom, it was kind of something that I needed because, you know, we always joke around and say, like, if you know my
Dude,
brother, you know
realign
me.
your chakra.
Right. He, you know, you always say, like, if you know my brother, you know me. And I needed that time to like get out and kind of rediscover myself. And I had 2 kids and I was home a lot and that was serving me well. But there's a whole other part of me that likes to
Oh,
be
yeah,
social
you're not a
and
homebody at all.
has to like, yeah, get out there and stuff. So that was a really good way for me to kind of do that and obtain some personal growth through that I was looking for that I just couldn't really find at home. Because I mostly had a home practice. Like I was pretty much self-taught. I didn't really go to any classes. I just kind of did what felt good. And that was one of the main reasons why I decided to take it a step further and then to get all of that personal growth with it was really nice. So
If you were my sister, I would totally make an irreverent comment right now. But because you're my sister, I cannot.
taller.
So we're
Well,
leaving it
well,
there.
I will say, it
Hold on,
sounds
go
like,
ahead. Beep. Oh, okay.
haha, that's funny, Tony.
Ha, ha, ha.
I was gonna say, I mean this in the most warm-hearted way that I view Tony as like a, and I think I mean this properly if I understand the definition of this word. That he's like a vagabond wearing a tux.
Yeah, he's Uncle George.
With
I don't know what's.
cowboy
Can
boots
you
and
look
a
up the definition of
boot
that?
buckle.
Just so I
No,
know.
just
I'm
look up
making
tropical
Sure.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's all you have to
No,
do.
I-
Tropical.
Cracked up decorum.
Tropical.
No, I just
Do
wanna
you have a
make sure I
tropical shirt on
understand.
under that? I might be disappointed.
You will be disappointed.
Yeah, that's. I think. Yeah, look up the
No-
definition
no
of vagabond
tropical
because I need to make sure I'm
suits.
using the word properly.
No
Oh, I've
tropical.
see
No.
that makes it even better because I've joked with you how many times,
Yeah.
and he always gives me the dirtiest look when I say this. That we need to start.
Shot you a dirty look.
Yeah, a Hawaiian shirt cult,
A traveler is a
Yeah.
vagabond.
and like so.
Vagabond, a person who wanders from place to place without a home or job. Tony has like 3 jobs now,
he
though.
hasn't always though.
Maybe not at heart.
I'm
The
saying.
whole
Yeah,
time.
I'm saying.
the whole time he gave me shit. He's like, you don't actually work a job.
Yeah. The one time he was like when he first started transitioning from growing the rogue tree.
Yeah, I was going to
business.
say, you better qualify that transition. We're in 2022.
Bro. Never mind.
Or
I'm still there.
or are we in 2022?
Jeez.
Bro, we're both not part of the Matrix. What do you think of that?
Stop.
Do 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 do. Wait, or is that the do do? I don't know. All
That's
of
the
them.
Twilight Zone.
All of
Sit your
them.
ass down. Continue, please.
I don't even remember what I was gonna say.
So you were like, hey, you said the vagabond thing,
Right.
and we talked about the traveler and the no
Suit.
jobs. And
No
I
jobs.
said, come on now. I said, he's been this way.
Oh, that's what it was. No, when he was doing the whole tree thing, he at one point I was talking to him he was like, I filled out this application, to this place that was going to pay me like hundreds of $1,000s a year and blah, blah, all this money. And he's like, but they wanted me like on call, like from like 7 to 3, 4 days a week. And I just, not even there, just on call. And I'm like, oh, we'll never get a job.
Well, bro, you poked me too much.
And now he's got 3 jobs that he's on call all the time.
Yeah,
Ask him how long I paid his phone bill for.
Full throttle.
Yeah. He'll be
Throttle.
in the middle of anything. You'll be like, phone call. Sorry.
Yeah.
Which job's that? Is it the jail? No, it's another one that I'm just filling in
See,
for.
we're kind of like that in a little bit of the same regard, but I don't do the multiple things at the same time. But I like to do the different areas of nursing and like kind of.
Eclecticism.
Yeah. And I feel like it gives you like a really good comprehensive. That's the one thing is like that experience can't be replaced. And, I might not have as much seasonal experience as somebody that's been on a labor and delivery floor for 20 years, but I have like 6 other years of experience with patients that have been in heart failure and some of the stuff that transfers and translates and comes over sometimes to labor and delivery. So there are times when certain people that have different experience can be a huge asset, like right under your nose, and you don't even realize until, you get a patient that comes in and your triage nurse today just happens to also have worked in cardiology and notice that you're short of breath and you have crackles and you have swelling and you look like you're in heart failure. And
I would send them home until their oxygen saturation is below 90%. And then I would
go
say,
get a
"Hey,
pulse ox if it goes below 90.
Oh, when you're blue and cyanotic, then you should come back. That's how we handle the
Yeah.
situation.
Well, I think to that point, like even in regardless of what industry or profession or whatever it is, obviously the medical industry is, it's convoluted and all important at the same time and
Sure.
complicated. But in any industry or anything, like if you can connect with somebody and somehow give them a little bit of information that you have that maybe they don't have.
Yeah.
All right, I'm this profession, you're that profession. We have these 2 things that we focus on, but if we can come together.
Unite the clans? Is that what I heard?
Yes.
Well, and that's
unite
also
the,
like.
Could be the
yes,
title of
unite
this
the
episode.
clans. You just want me to say it? Unite the
I
clans.
do. Thank you.
Unite the clans.
Thank you, William Wallace.
First
It's about time.
first it was just me.
Yeah.
All of us.
It's just me by myself. And then there was you. But first it was just me. And then there was us. No, but like going all the way back around to that, it's like that aspect of responsibility that you were talking about is, we're all burned out, but it's still our responsibility to try to quote unquote raise a good group of nurses that are going to be able to like do the job that needs to be done in the manner that it needs to be done down the road. And so that's where like your older nurses are getting burnout because number one, they don't tolerate change as well. And change is, it's one of the most simple pieces of advice in nursing school, but probably one of the most frequent sentences that comes to my mind in nursing. I had a professor that on the first day said, if you cannot handle change, nursing is not for you.
It's a Grandpa Ray quote right there about businesses.
Yeah.
Failure to adapt.
If you, and so like we can make this whole statement into a blanket and say, if you are, if you're not willing to tolerate change, then it's not for you.
But I mean, that's everything is changing.
Exactly.
Like, medicine's changing, life is changing. Like you have to adapt to those things.
And so, but you get it, like there's burnout after a while. Like how many more times do I have to tolerate this changing before I just completely lose my head, But that's the way that it is. It's
So
like a.
why do you think that burnout happens? Do you think that's just the career in and of itself? Do you think it's an understaffing thing? Like why do you think the burnout is there?
I think
Because-
it's like a super multifaceted thing
Okay,
that happens.
Because what do you hear in nursing school? That nurses eat their own.
Yeah.
You hear that all the time.
Yeah. They do. They do eat their own. And we got eaten a lot by, senior nurses that it's like one of those things where they're stubborn. And you're like, listen, I'm not trying to be a burden to you. I'm trying to learn. And
Karen.
yeah. What's up, Karen? So it becomes one of those things where, like, when I was in nursing school, I definitely ran into those types of nurses that treated me more like a burden rather than trying to help them. And so I could see that being more of a foreboding thing now, just based on my guess that we have much higher burnout than we've ever had before, We need nurses. So we need people, and we need to train people to do their job. And we can't just expect people to know. I just started with a student this week, and it was really nice for me to sit down with the director of my unit and have her remind me that, like, students are students. Like, we're not talking about somebody that's coming in and orienting for a job. We're talking about somebody that, like,
It's here to learn.
like, you graduate from nursing school and you've just hit ground level now. People think that you're like ground level when you start nursing school. No, you're in the dirt. You're down here. You dig your way out. And then once you've dug your way out, then you finally start the real journey. So it's one of those things that I think I know my program was really competitive. It took me it probably would not have taken me 6 months to find a job afterwards, but it was nice for me to have that break, because when I was done with school, I was like, woo, in tatters. We had started to talk about, I had applied to a couple different places. I got approval for my nursing license in Colorado because I thought maybe I wanted to go out there because, like, you're young and you don't have any kids and you just finished your graduation, so you can pretty much like go wherever you want to go. So I picked Colorado. I applied to this program at Duke University Hospital in their cardiology. That was like this preceptorship program where you do an interview, and if you get it, you go and do this program. And then at the end of the program, if you've done well, then they offer you a position.
You got it, didn't you?
I got offered an interview.
Okay.
And, but that was like right after I found out I was pregnant. So yes. So, and
You're
then
welcome, kids.
yeah, Cleveland Clinic contacted me, and I did 4 interviews, 2 at main campus and then 2 at the Hillcrest campus. On the east side of Cleveland. And I was like a cardiac step down, a vascular surgical step down unit, med surg cardiac, and this oncology. And, oncology was not even something that was on my radar when I was in nursing school. Not once in my mind was I want to give chemotherapy. I want to take care of dying people, but when I got on the floor and interviewed with the manager, she was amazing. She was like super upbeat. Like, those are the types of people that we need. We need, even though we're burnout and even though we're frustrated, we need to continue to be a good support system for each other and a good support system for the people that are coming in, because it's way, way easier to be rude and nasty and closed off and unhelpful and solely focused on your profits and your own assignment and your own business and your own everything than it is to take time out of your day to be kind and caring and empathetic to people.
I'll push back on that because I don't think it's at first. At first it's way easier, but once you start doing that, where you're just like, hey, I'm gonna be nice to you because just because when you realize, and I even I've talked to an industry that goes around a lot of different places and properties and deals with a lot of different people, and they do work on those properties. So, and they're not always the most cognizant group of people that does work on these properties.
Okay.
But we're going to have to, we go and do this work routinely. So, you know what, like when you're there and you're dealing with people and you're dealing with these things, it might be easier to be lazy at first, but then once you realize you have to come back to this point and you have to talk to this person.
You're building a reputation.
And the nicer you are to people in general, it just what goes around comes around.
Yeah.
So then you realize that, all right, I put a little bit of work up front of being nice and putting myself out there. But when everybody's happy and you're just nicer to people, everybody else is nicer.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just shockwave. And in the end, it makes things easier, but more people have to do that than not.
Well, and I think so. I think the burnout is what causes people to feel like it's just easier to not be nice. Do you know what I mean? So when you first start a job or you first start an experience, you're super excited for it, right? Because it's like something that you've wanted for however long, and you're a sponge. You want to soak up everything. You want to know everything. And then I think we had started to talk about burnout and how I think it's multifaceted. You start to get into the situation where you either don't feel appreciated or you don't feel respected, or some dynamics change in staffing, like certain people that you really respect and admire retire, and people that you maybe don't vibe with as well or whatever. I can't say that for our floor because we have fantastic teamwork, but some people that maybe you don't get along with as well move into like management style positions or take over those positions, dynamics change, whatever happens, and it's like a shift that I start to see over time. So policies change. We start to add things. You know what? We've decided that it's more important that we do this. So we're going to start doing this every 2 hours instead of every 4 hours.
Right.
We're going to start changing this medication, and instead of as needed, it's going to be scheduled. So like the tasks start increasing and you start to get like a workload burnout. You start to feel underappreciated.
For sure.
Then your staff is getting sick. So you start to be short staffed and your workload increases. And then you start to see the changes over time socially with people that COVID has had on like everybody, right? And
But,
so,
to that, all of that where it's culminating in COVID, there I guess I see a difference between the company you work for and the people you work around.
yeah,
You know, because we've kind of had this discussion too before where if you're doing something nice for somebody, whether or not you know it's going to reflect in a positive way towards you or not, either way, you're still doing something nice for somebody.
right.
So like, I kind of separate that with companies. Like companies are companies, but the people that we work with, even if the company's doing something that we don't like, we can still be nice to the people that we're around every day because
Right.
one, it's going to help them out, but it's going to help me out too. So is that a selfish thing? I don't know. Doesn't matter. I don't know if it really matters, but
Not really if it's working for everybody.
Yeah, but I get the idea of, the company's not doing something. Then it's like, all right, well, I got to figure something else out here. But the people that you're around every day, I guess my point is companies can do really shitty things, but we can still be nice to the people around us every day. And sometimes those things get pushed off, like our own problems get pushed on.
They do. People have there's like a big internal struggle sometimes, I think, for people to be able to like leave their crap at the door and like put their stuff aside. And I think that plays an aspect too in the way that, people get treated sometimes. So yeah, very important that we be patient and kind with each other. Every time I drop my kids off at school a lot, and when they get out of the car, I say, all right, guys, have a great day. Be kind, it does.
Be nice.
Yeah. It for a lot of people, it's easier to be nice, but like some people, they get stuck in that negative mentality, and it's just easier for them to like be cruel or be mean or be impatient or snippy.
Let me quote some Dan Leach right here.
Ooh.
I love Dan.
Yeah,
Right on.
everybody loves Dan.
Love me
everybody
some Dan.
Everybody knows Dan, even if they didn't meet him.
Yeah.
But he has a quote, and it wasn't an original Dan, but it came from somewhere, and he adopted it. But it had to do with saying something. And he said, you probably shouldn't say it if it's not true, kind, necessary, or encouraging.
That's correct.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the hard thing is people think about all those things like, well, those are all nice. Well, no. True and necessary are often not nice or kind.
So that's like one of the concepts in yoga of like nonviolence is, just like checking yourself in that way, not necessarily like physical violence, but
Right.
The way that you say things, and you can say something and make it not hurt so bad if it's honest and if it's necessary, right? But yeah, and I think there's a lot of knee-jerk reaction sometimes too that goes into the people that are cruel and stuff like that, because we know that hurt people. So that's, just people that aren't nice to you, that doesn't really have a whole lot to do with you unless you specifically know that you wronged them in some way. And even then, you apologize and hope for the best. But hurt people, and that's just it's sad. Like I always try to slow.
That's a good quote.
Yeah.
Hurt people.
Yeah, you always have to try. My thing is like if I've done something to upset somebody, or if somebody's done something to upset me, I try to slow everything down, because it's way easier for you to start madly texting somebody, calling them all these names in the book, telling them how upset you are with them that they did this and did that. It's it's much harder to not do that stuff sometimes. But if you can take that time, calm yourself down and figure it out, then you guys are both going to be in a better place, because that's where a lot of that knee-jerk reaction, like name-calling bullcrap comes from. And it just...
What's the Grappa 3 days?
3 days.
before you send it. Sit on it for
Mhm.
3 days. And after 3 days, if you still feel the same way, send it. If you don't send it. A lot
That's
can
honestly
change
good.
in
And
3 days.
that's honestly probably mind blowing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
To think about I have to wait 3 days.
Well,
for
that's
some-
because we're a society of instant
Yeah, I
gratification.
can order something from Amazon and get it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like what? You want me to
But
wait?
do you?
I can. I did with my graph paper for my chicken
Sons
coop.
of bitches.
Yeah, but like 3 days, you want me to hold?
come to our
Yeah,
house?
you want me to hold a grudge for 3 days and not express it?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, the point
what?
is you're not supposed to let it bubble. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Eventually, it's supposed to burn itself out.
Yeah,
but
and the bad thing about the grudge is, though, it tears you down. Like,
Oh yeah.
all these
Well,
constructive
that-
things that you could have, put this time to, your mind to, they're getting torn down by this one idea. And I'm not saying it's never warranted, but oftentimes it's
there's a
not-
danger of internalizing too on
Oh,
that.
right.
There's a danger of never capitalizing on the growth that can come out of a situation
Right.
like that and waiting the 3 days and then just completely shutting it down and never saying anything.
Right. And that's what I kind of intended by the story of like for yourself. Do it for yourself.
Yeah.
Like if you're not going to behave for somebody else, you're not going to take care of somebody's property, or if you're not going to, whatever it is, like do it for yourself.
Yeah.
Be selfish about it.
For sure.
Because you know what? If you don't spit back at somebody else for being nasty, or you don't, mess somebody's property up or whatever it is for your own benefit, if you do something nice to somebody else for your own benefit, like doesn't matter if it's selfishly or not.
Yeah.
But if you just be nasty and do something intentionally that's going to piss somebody off, like who's that hurting? Everybody.
Everybody. Yeah.
Like so hurt
Well, and like
everybody.
what's like a lot of times my kids will get in fights about stuff and I'm like, all right, what is the point of this? Tell me what is so important that this is exactly how this needs to be right now. Tell me. They can't really tell me. You can't really like what in life is so important that it is worth whatever negativity is going to be associated with it. Name me something. There's nothing. There's literally nothing. People are going to wrong you in your life. There's a lot of shit that's going to happen to a lot of people. And there's a lot of stuff that I'm sure has happened to all of us. And there's a lot of stuff that we have probably done to other people that has not been so great, right? Okay. It's like, what's the difference? Everybody's guilty of something. Everybody's done something. And you grow from it and you do the best you can and you try to move on from it. But to continually spend the energy to like point at people, put them down, constantly remind them of their faults and things that they're doing it's like a poor way that we've gotten stuck in society. I just see so much negativity now and it's really sad because everybody is just like much more keen on trying to correct people, like straight down to their like grammar on Facebook, you know?
Maybe you should correct yourself first.
Yeah.
Check yourself.
Look in the mirror.
Yeah, full circle.
Well, it's
Check
way
yourself
easier to
before
go
you
ahead and
wreck
just
yourself.
continue to look at everybody else than to look yourself in the mirror. You know, a lot of people don't like what they see, and that translates real loud and hard on the way that they treat other people.
And change it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't even know if some people know.
That's why we're
Yeah,
canceling.
yeah,
They didn't even
That's why we're
realize it.
canceling people.
Yeah, they don't. That's a whole different topic in itself.
I don't
Yeah.
think we're too old to talk about that kind of crap. aren't we?
Canceling? What do you mean? You can get canceled. You can be 70 years old and get
And
canceled.
get canceled.
Yeah, if you're on Twitter or something. But I think that's the whole point. Is like sometimes people just don't even look at it. They don't even realize what they're doing.
No, they don't. It's
It's
just
just-
like a way of how they are. It's the like you said earlier about people not wanting to wear other people's shoes anymore. Like it's just like that. Like people get stuck in their ways or they start to believe one thing and even if the thing's not true, it just seems easy for them to roll with it and so they just do. The fantasy world that gets created. So
Then there's me over here doing shoeies.
Shooey. Oh.
You know what a shoey is, bro?
No.
Guys, look that up. You'll learn real quick.
It's a shoey.
You'll see. You'll see.
I don't remember the
There's
stat.
there's a UFC fighter that does it all the time.
What?
Shooey.
He literally
There's a-
grabs people's shoes, pours some alcohol in there,
Oh, gross.
hammers it.
And
out of the
hammers
shoe.
it.
That's-
Old homeboy across the table.
I'm
is
glad I
immune to
spelled that
everything.
right.
yeah.
A shoey is the act of drinking an alcoholic beverage from a shoe. That's why you're always wearing
Das
your
Boot.
boots, Tony.
I had
Das Boot.
I had a
Das
dust I had a
Boot.
dust boot forever in my
I
toolbox.
know you did.
I did from the Hofbrauhaus. Okay, so Nursing,
Yes.
yoga.
C, kind of.
What else? There's some other
What else?
pieces of you.
I mean, there's not too many other pieces of me, really. 2 kids,
You know,
2 really cute boys. They're 9 and 5. My 5-year-old came out with red hair. That was a cool experience. I was like, what?
She's like,
What was that? Yeah, this little kid comes out with like a full head of red hair, and I was like, oh my, does he have red hair?
yeah, Tormund Giantsbane?
Yeah. What the what?
Hey, those recessive genes that just follow along. You never
Yeah.
know when they're going to hit.
So like a baseball mom and all that crap. But yeah, I know when Aunt asked me, he's like, do you want to be on the podcast? I'm like, I'm not really that interesting of a person.
I was like, just show up and it'll be fun.
Yeah,
Show
I was like, I don't
show
really
up and
have
be fine.
anything
Show up and
to.
it'll draw us.
I've honestly heard more passion about the job that you have
Yeah.
than I have that entire
Yeah.
field in a long time. So let me ask you this. You described very, I don't even know how many reasons people can get burnout in the medical field,
Yeah.
right? And they're
Yeah.
very obvious.
Sure.
But then you also speak with so much passion and knowledge, and you love your job. So have you personally felt that strain, that burnout with, especially the last 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have noticed like over the last 10 years of nursing that there are days when I am less tolerant than I wish that I could be. I think that finding the right environment for yourself as a nurse. So a lot of people really edge on like the passion of the specialty, like I want to deliver babies, I want to work in ICU, I want to do this. And my best advice to those people is you actually need to not worry about so much what type of nursing it is and worry about your management and the people that are on your floor, because your coworkers, because those people are going to be your saving grace in your darkest hours. And yes, there will be very dark hours as a nurse, and it is way more important to work with a group of people that are going to be right by your side and continually support you and not be dog eat dog with you than it is for you to like be able to say like, hey, I'm a cardiovascular ICU RN, I think some people, they get hung up on like these titles or these tasks or things that they want to do, and it's like, you know what, you could love delivering babies, but you get up in with the wrong group of people, and I don't care how much you love delivering babies, you're not going to enjoy your job. That's just the way that it is.
Yeah.
So it's safe to say that your group, your team has helped you over the last couple of years where other people are feeling this. You guys have a pretty strong team that you're not feeling it as much.
Absolutely. When I came to the job that I'm at now, I came from a different environment that I was not a very good fit for. And mentally, it had changed me a little bit and made me feel like I was, I think, more incompetent than, like I was competent, but going through everything I had gone through with that job made me really question some of what I was doing as a nurse that I thought was good. And when I got down to this job, it took me a while before I would even like ask anyone for help with anything or, do certain things, because I came from an area where it was like, well, if you can't get all this stuff done, then you need to work on your time management skills and kind of stuff like that. And so I came down into this environment that was a lot more supportive, and it took me a while before I felt comfortable being like, hey, do you mind going and grabbing like that CBC for me, because I'm like right in the middle of doing this newborn testing or whatever. But the management and like the people at the root of this group of people have hand selected all of these nurses, and like they just get it. Like I've never been, this is obviously only my 3rd job, but as a nurse, but like I've never been on a floor where use like catchy where the vibe is like what it is down there, like we have a whole vibe down there and it works, and it shows in our numbers, it shows in our weekly emails and the things that people say about us. It shows in the patients that drive 3 hours to have a baby with us, and like our doctors that's another thing. Like if you don't have a good standing relationship with your doctors, then it's going to be difficult for you to enjoy your job. That's the thing. Our doctors look at us as like one of their team members. We respect them. We respect their role immensely, and we try to prove that to them every day. But we are also, we are educated enough that they trust us. So they trust us when we call and say, hey, here's an update on your labor patient. This is what I'm thinking. Is this what you're thinking? They don't mind that type of communication. And I think it gives us a really successful practice, and it gives us a really successful floor. And I think that we experience our own burnout. We have to float off and help other areas of the hospital, that are in need. And sometimes we have more babies than we have nurses. Like our labors are 1-to-1. So sometimes you have like a couple nighttime inductions at like 7 p.m. and you're like, yeah, we got this, we're fully staffed up in here, and then like 12 a.m. there's like a text, SOS, we need a labor nurse, like we need somebody. So the dynamic changes fast, but that's another thing is like they show up. Like you put a call out, you throw out that labor and delivery Batman light, they show up. So it works, but it's like a very conscious effort. And I think that's some of the stuff, like those floors that don't work, those are like singular unconscious effort type units.
I think it could be said for, any business.
Yeah.
Particularly any business working when you're putting people together that wouldn't normally be together working together.
Mm-hmm.
That's what companies are, is just putting this mash of people together. But the same thing with friendships or relationships with family or anything else. Like if you're all going to be in the same place, you have to figure out how to work together.
Yeah.
And if you can figure out how to work together and get whatever the desired goal is done and be nice to each other at the same time, then it makes it easier.
Right.
Well, then what happens when your job's easier? Well, you're happier.
Right.
And the people around you are happier, which makes the job even easier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's just positivity wave of.
And you can take better care of your patients, and then
Yeah.
your patients are happier, and everybody feels more supported, and it's like a freaking kumbaya moment.
Yeah, and this is like, yeah. Well, I think in any, like I said,
And then there was a campfire, and then there were s'mores, and then we were singing kumbaya.
No, I think that's true. Like, but like in any business, if you've managed people or if you're an employee and you have a boss, if your boss doesn't like present themselves as a boss, but just part of the team, well, then it's like, okay, like, well, does the boss pull the weight? And then vice versa. Then the employees start pulling their weight, and everybody's just, hey, we have a job to get done here. Let's be happy and let's get the job done. Let's do it well. Let's like get along with each other, and then magically.
Well, and I think the act of appreciation is severely undervalued nowadays. And I think that's another thing that would really, it doesn't take a lot to let somebody know they're appreciated. That's one of the huge things in our family is we're constantly telling each other that,
Grandpa Ray.
Yeah, Grandpa Ray, that has anybody told you today that you're appreciated? And that's, we don't give it the credit that it deserves. It's free. Just like kindness, showing appreciation to somebody, showing somebody respect. Obviously there's people in this world that are going to do us dirty and not deserve our respect, but like just giving people a chance. Or say like, how do you know you can trust somebody? You have to decide to trust them.
Yeah. And let them break it or let them.
Yeah. You gotta let them show or go. And it's like, that's kind of the same with everything. Like, how do you figure it out? You got to do it.
Figure it out.
Figure it out.
Just figure it out. So.
I like that. I never thought about that goes very against the what I've always been annoyed by, I fucking hate people that say trust but verify. Well, you can't trust and verify.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You can't.
If you're verifying, you are
That
definitely not trusting.
Right. So like stop it.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's a good thing to verify that people are who they are and
So yeah,
to
but
be
then
willing to be verified.
so I guess you could also like play devil's advocate and look at that the other way and say like, okay, is this you? Is this actually you not trusting that person, or is this just some ingrained insecurity that you have in yourself that you
For
feel like
sure.
you need to validate?
At some point, you need to stop validating and trusting.
Exactly.
But
So it's like, is the problem with them? Probably not. The problem's probably something internally with you that like needs to be fixed in order for you to be able to branch out and fix the external thing of
Absolutely.
making them feel like you don't trust them.
Going back to looking in the mirror first.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you can look in the mirror, but like you have to be able to see too, right? So
And
Yeah.
do some shit about changing what you see in
Yeah.
the mirror if it needs changing.
Yeah.
absolutely.
So like you can say all day, and I've been through this before with people, they say all day like, oh, I've changed. Well, you know what? And a great way to figure out if somebody's changed is put them under that same pressure they've been under before and see if you get the same reaction. Because
Oh.
9 times out of 10, and you might honestly in your heart feel like you've changed, but like the real change comes in, like we talked about earlier, slow it down, right? Slow it down and look at it and see what it is before you respond to it, because that is how you change. You have to slow it down and look at it.
Not just
You can't
react.
just be like, I'm just not going to do that anymore. You have to be like, okay, here comes that situation where I usually do this. So slow it down. And instead this time doing this, do something else.
Is this really what I want to do
If-
again?
Yeah, because if you do the same thing you've always done, you're going to get the same thing you've always gotten.
Shit in, shit out.
Yeah,
Sanity.
right?
Doing the same thing without or expecting a different result.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's on that.
It's hard though. to do
Yeah,
that.
no, it's super
especially at
hard.
first.
And nobody's perfect at it. So like you
No.
can't shit on people when they're trying, right?
Right. Well, it's like you talk about raising kids. Like when you tell a kid, like, look, we're not going to be mad at you. Just be honest
Mhm.
and just tell the truth. And it could be something about something so non-consequential.
Yeah.
But if they have it in their mind, or if you're doing something, you have it in your mind that this is a big deal.
Yeah.
It may not be, but if you think, if it feels like a big deal in your mind,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, should I tell the truth about this?
Well, and the crazy thing is that's like totally age appropriate emotional like response. You know what I mean? Like we try to make our kids adults so hard sometimes. And it's like, dude, this kid is not even like cannot, like literally, like we're not talking about they're being stubborn and they won't. We're talking about how they physically do not have the mental capacity to process what you're trying to get them to understand. You know?
What happens when that applies to people that aren't kids?
Yeah.
We have diagnoses for those kinds of
I will
people.
say, I'm willing to admit that I'm one of those people that I'm like, why, you're 10?
you? Yeah.
Why can't you act like you're 30? Like, what's wrong?
Drive us to the store.
What's wrong with you right now?
Yes,
You're not-
exactly.
you haven't been here for 40 years on this planet and know what I'm talking about?
But that's easy to do because, we go to these jobs and we do these things where people are kind of demanding of us and we try to find ways to make it work. And then we come home and we're like,
Well, the worst thing is when I go to work and I'm like, I am talking to somebody that's 40, and I'm like, dude, my 10-year-old gets this
Yeah.
concept. Like, what have you done for
Do
the
you
last
need
30?
adopted?
Yeah.
are you trying to be my second child
Yeah.
right now?
What have you done for the last 30 years? I'm
Yeah.
interested. What's your
Yeah.
work history? Let me see that resume, bitch.
How did you-
Fred brings home an adult male and says, I
This is our
adopted
new
Adopt
son?
him, this one.
Kyrie's going to be like, I know I said I wanted a brother, but now I feel like I have a second dad. I'm not sure.
I was
about
going for a
this.
baby.
Even she doesn't. She's
Like
not a
in
huge fan of
physical size, a baby. Not like a mental
That's
baby.
We're done with that.
No, I wouldn't do that. That's there are some 40-year-olds I've come across where I'm like, you are less mature than my kid who is very, very young.
95% of all dudes in the tree industry.
No, 95% of people, period, it feels like sometimes. With certain things. Certain things.
Do you guys ever feel like you get less tolerant as you go through experiences and like
I've
it's a little
gotten more
harder
tolerant.
to be okay?
I have. Because I think maybe it's given me I don't know, maybe I started out very, very, very not tolerant.
Maybe you're like average tolerance right now.
Yeah, maybe I'm just average tolerance
You're
now.
talking it up and they're like,
Yeah, because I used
Cass is like, he's like min average. Like,
yeah, because I've said it plenty
He's
of
always
times.
been tolerant of my bullshit. I don't know why. He just
'cause
has
you're cute.
always.
I was gonna say it's because you're
Thanks.
pretty.
Yeah.
He's finally
Because
getting
you're pretty
more.
and you got a cute booty.
And you do things. Yeah.
and you do
Um,
wife shit.
It's That's probably
Hey, Cass,
Come sit by me.
keep those holes tight.
Yeah.
female shit. Wife shit includes like cooking. I'm
Yeah.
out on some of
You
that.
do
That's
wife
fine. I'll
shit.
do the cooking.
Not very good. No.
Well,
I
it
mean-
depends on what you quantify as wife shit.
Listen, if he wants to
Saying.
eat good, he knows like
Like I said, keep those holes tight.
I should probably
Yeah.
put some stuff on the grill. Like
Let me. Yeah.
she's
I'll
gonna
take
do the
care of that.
dishes afterwards
Yeah.
for sure.
Collaborative effort.
Yeah, but
of
I should
some
probably
kind.
grill the food and yeah.
See,
That's
that's the thing. I guess like we say wife shit, but like the term is very loose because honestly, like I think the best types of relationships are ones that are made out of teamwork. So, and good teamwork and good communication.
Teamwork.
What were
Makes
we
the
doing the
dream
other
work.
day?
Grab the legs, put me in the back.
I was
Back of the truck there.
Teamwork.
Get up, you two.
Caraputo. Oh no.
Starbucks.
Talking about that teamwork. Capital T.
I was carrying wood. Like it was cold and I was like bundled up to go fill the wood
Slinging
rack.
some wood.
And you were like
It's just-
She
making
said
lunch.
carrying wood. It's 2022.
something.
You
I know.
have to explain
Did you
that a
see?
little
Did
bit.
you see me?
Bruce Jenner coming at you right now.
Just got a blanket
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a
Okay.
blanket
Is there any wood in there?
She's got
strategically
great
placed.
wood.
Thanks,
It's
babe.
great wood.
Great.
It's great
Fred
wood.
likes it. It's
Yeah,
fine.
I love licking wood, like Chad, right?
Ugh.
Well, that was odd.
We're now taking you to the X-rated version of Chronic Curiosity.
Welcome
If you're
back.
under 18,
To continue,
please.
please
No, I
pay
always have to click that.
$9.99.
That'll be $22.50. Tax supplies.
I always have to check that box. This episode contains explicit material.
There is
It's
some
always-
rude shit in here. Do not enter.
It's fine. Most people are fine with it.
Oh.
I remember once again, I had something I was going to ask and I got lost.
Anthony and I,
Distracting.
the plan is working.
You said you like to lick wood.
No, way.
Yeah, that's where we
way
were.
Before that, no, way before that
Way
conversation.
before I was licking wood,
I'm ready to trade sides.
wait. I have to
Way
go over there.
Yeah,
Or you're just coming
yeah,
over here.
Well, if you want to stay over there, we can. So
I'll let you sit. Well, you already went to the bathroom. I was gonna let you sit close to the door.
He does that.
Oh,
I drink, I piss. What are you gonna do?
everything is working. The plumbing is working.
Slay.
Oh.
That's a bummer because I was going to ask something. I don't remember what it was now, though. You guys got me way off track.
We tend
If
to
I
do
ever
that.
was on.
If you're not throwing cell phones at people.
I don't know.
What are you doing? That thing, I thought it was a piece of shit, but it did not break. Whose cell phone was that anyway?
Oh, so it wasn't like your cell phone. It was just
no.
a cell
His name
phone.
started with an R. It was Paul's second in command brewer.
Is he still second in command?
I don't know what he does. He's
Mm.
probably he's
Why'd you
he's
throw,
catching.
Why was there a phone thrown?
Why
so
did I throw his phone?
because we were drinking and we were at the brewery.
Oh, he was like giving me shit about
Raj
something.
was his name. Raj.
Probably.
It was something close.
that sounds
to
like
that.
somebody whose phone
It was
needs
something
thrown.
close to that. It was something close to that.
That was a joke.
So he was
for
a bit of a
legal reasons.
hipster. He was a bit of a hipster, and he was in love with my sister. And he was like, "Bro,
Ugh.
I'm in love with your sister."
I am
And I'm
in
like,
love.
"Well,
Are
I'm
you
like,
in love? I am in love. I am
I'm
not
like,
in
yeah,
love.
do what you do, bro."
Yeah,
I was
do
like,
you even know
I was
her?
like, fire your shot. He's like, I don't mean to offend you. I was like, shoot your best shot, bro, and see what happens. And I knew exactly what was going to happen. So I don't exactly remember how
Don't start
this
telling
did
stories
happen.
about how I'm undateable now.
I didn't say you're undateable.
Just kidding.
I didn't say you're undateable.
Not yet. The story's not over.
That's true.
Continue.
So
Yeah. Finish the story.
I don't remember exactly how it happened, but he said something about she was like, "Hey, I'll chuck your phone across this whole bar right now." He goes, "You won't do that." Dude, without
I almost hit
missing a
someone.
beat, took his phone. Dude, ultimate Frisbee didn't have shit on this throw. Nolan Ryan would have
Well,
been
good for you.
envious. Bro, skipping rocks, just chucked it, bro, across the entire bar. And Paul, the owner, was just like,
Oh, come on, guys. Come
she
on.
just did what she said
Do
she was going to do.
worst.
I was like, yeah, bro, her last name's Adamrovich.
Hey, you're
Yeah,
you're
and all you
consistent.
did was look at me and you went, "Dude, you almost hit that person back there." And I was like, "Oh God, I didn't even look and see if there was anyone back there."
It's all right. You just
You
come
have to follow through.
The phone didn't break though. So
It worked still after that?
whatever, like plug for whatever kind of phone that was,
It
because
was a BlackBerry.
plug for
What?
BlackBerry. Go
What
get
was
you
this?
one.
Do you
30
know this
years
because
ago?
he continued to shoot his shot with you with this
Probably.
phone?
I don't really remember.
No, I think he was scared of you after that.
That sounds more accurate.
He was like,
Yeah.
no.
No, thank you. No, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. She
But-
was like, that
yeah, but
chick
if
will
you-
break my dick like a celery stalk.
Jesus. But at least you know she's honest, or at least follows through.
Oh, yeah. That's the Russian in us.
That's the whole point.
The Russian.
I'll get that. I mean, that to me that makes sense. If you
I mean,
someone,
if I tell you I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it.
yeah, if someone were to say to me that they're going to do that, and I'm like, "Fuck you, will," and they did it, I'm like,
yeah.
okay.
Touche.
yeah,
Touche.
yeah, I put you up to it.
When you had a dad who was underwater demolition, undercover narcotics,
Yeah.
the man didn't mince words. He's a
can't.
wild son of a bitch.
Yep. That's true. We actually really didn't even stand a chance, so it's not our fault. I'm just gonna put that. Whatever it wasn't our fault.
Can't believe the story has not been told yet.
Which one?
Which one?
The one
gonna
you
say-
always tell.
He mentioned earlier, but now
I'm
I've
like,
heard
she's
so
going to tell
much,
the
I don't
story
know.
undoubtedly.
Darts.
Oh,
my
the blow
god! I just
darts.
told Roic that story the other night.
Told you.
Listen, everybody that I've ever met for some reason decides that they want to try to tell me that, like, oh, it would be so cool to own a dart gun. I'm like, yeah, let me tell you a story about how cool
dart
it
gun?
is
What?
to own a dart gun.
Here we go.
Who bought you that dart gun anyway?
I don't know, but God bless her soul. It's fantastic.
Probably at the bottom of a lake somewhere.
How old were we? Like 12,
Did you kill somebody with it?
13? Bro,
old,
the
old
other
enough to know better, but
the
too
other
young to
thing we didn't
care.
say about old Pops,
What's that?
he collected for Franklin Teen in Youngstown. He was born and raised in Youngstown.
Yeah, he was.
He wasn't a made man, but
He was a.
he was involved.
He was
He was
involved.
involved. But I digress.
Yeah.
Please continue.
Anyway, no. Somebody decided it was a good idea to buy my brother a blow dart
I think
gun.
I bought it.
You probably did.
Probably save my shoe money.
Yeah, from your shoeies.
Shoeies.
I made so much money off TikTok from doing shoeies that I bought a blow dart gun. Are you guys enjoying this story? Is it going good? I've embellished it over
Sounds
the
like
years.
my life is over.
We
at that
It's
actually,
good, it's great,
we actually
yeah.
didn't even have internet when this shit happened, but
point.
that's
Yeah,
okay.
No. We had dial up.
We did. Do 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 do.
AOL. We had DOS.
I still have the
3 to
AOL
6.
email address to prove it.
Mm.
Yeah, we did have DOS. Yeah. What was that game that we used to play all the time?
Wolfenstein?
Oh,
Commander Keen?
that was a good. Oh, that was a good one.
That's
too.
after.
No,
Doom?
it was freaking. Oh my gosh, Doom! It was down in the basement.
I won't stop.
We used to play Oregon Trail a lot too. Fucking dysentery.
Oregon Trail?
Oregon Trail.
Oregon Trail.
Bro,
That
not-
makes
Oregon,
Oregon-
yeah.
Not
Yeah.
The
Hannibal
healthcare
Lecter,
version.
It
goddamn.
Oregon
makes sense.
Trail.
It makes sense why you both
So
end
many
up in the medical field.
donations.
Oregon Trail.
Oregon Trail, and there were so many donations. No, yeah, we won't get into the story about how we ran the kidney business. But anyway, so can we take that off record? But I before I was in witness protection, which I just blew.
Right there out of Woodsack.
Boom, boom, boom. Now I lost my train. Now I pulled a Fred.
Yeah. Welcome.
Gone.
You're
Fred Central
welcome.
right there.
Um,
Christ. The blow.
the blow
Gun.
dart
Yeah.
gun. No, we used to fight, man. We used to fight.
Yeah.
And
That's what brothers and sisters do.
yeah. Yeah, but we used to like fight in Russian. Have you ever fought in Russian before?
I don't know what that means.
Fucking-
Fought in Russian.
Don't
Yeah.
ever do it.
Well, you're going to get injured.
Don't
There's
ever-
going to be sutures.
Don't ever fight
what
in
exactly does I understand what fighting in Russia would be
Like someone's going to get
but
like
fought
fucked up.
in Russia.
Someone might
Yeah.
die. Might die.
Fought in Russia.
There's definitely attempted murder.
Cultural relativism. That's what I'm claiming.
Yeah. We're just trying to stay with the times here, keeping it current. But he got this blow dart gun, and we got in this fight. I don't even remember what the fight was about, and I ended up trying to run from him. And as I was running up the stairs, he blew a dart out of his blow dart gun, and he just missed my foot. And when we went to get the dart out of the step, it was in the step so hard that we could like barely get it. Like it would have gone all the way through my foot if he would have gotten me. He was like out for blood. He was out for blood.
No,
Maybe he didn't realize
if I
it-
was out for blood, I would have.
That was when we were a little closer to the same size,
You've
though.
seen me shoot, and I've seen you shoot.
That's true.
Both shooters. Shooter's gonna shoot.
And that time at the farm, did you just? You told me to shoot it in the head. You told me to shoot it. We used to go out to the farm and like practice shooting.
Hold on.
He's like, back it up.
We got to back it up a little bit
Some
here. for the audience.
context?
So yeah,
Get a little context
We're
here?
gonna have to censor it a little bit though.
We won't have to censor it. So, Gramps,
Make it legal.
Gramps.
Tony always says he's like, we don't have to censor this. And then he fully censors it. It just doesn't sound like it.
Have you ever censored anything?
Me?
Yeah, I don't censor anything,
Hmm.
bro. I've never pulled you back.
Hmm.
Never pulled you back. But no.
Hmm.
So my grandfather, his dream was to live on this hobby farm that he bought. He bought it down in Holmes County, and it was, imagine Arcadia, but in Millersburg. So one of the most idyllic communities. And so he named this thing Rainbow Ridge. The times have changed, but he named it Rainbow Ridge.
I mean, either okay. I don't know
Like
what that
good times
means.
rainbows, not like dudes sucking dicks.
I mean,
But-
either way.
You guys
it's not-
killed my cow.
I mean, it was delicious.
Bastard killed. I had this like pet cow.
It was delicious.
They like killed it and lied to me about like I was eating it and I didn't know it.
I mean, parents tell lies.
I
Pet
feel like that happens to
cows.
every kid though at one
It
point
does,
or
it
another.
does, it does. But Grandpa had a hobby farm down there. The idea was to retire down there, and Grandma said, "This is too far from civilization." But that hobby farm was very idyllic, and so it was an old farmhouse. It had an outbuilding. It had the areas for husbandry or the cows. So we had cattle at one point. We had a north and south pasture. We had Purple Martin houses for the Purple Martins. We had, let me think here, a vineyard. We had fruit trees. We had an orchard. We had a
Mhm.
pond. We had a covered bridge that went across the creek.
Yep.
We had mulberry trees. We had all kinds of briars. We had woods.
Sounds like a '90s painting.
Bro, it was.
Oh, it
It was
was.
a
There's
Thomas
a
Kincaid
picture.
special.
Yeah,
the
there's a
lights even
picture
come
of
on?
it
Yeah, it was a Thomas Kincaid
at
special.
Grandpa's house.
Yeah. So that's where we're at. That's the farm.
Yeah.
I'll let you continue.
Sounds so
though.
idyllic. She's like,
What was I doing with that?
doing?
That was so idyllic. You put me in a trance. We were talking about blow dart guns and dying, but not dying.
On the farm.
Oh, shooting the bird.
Oh, the bird.
Mhm.
Antony and I
One of
used to
our
go out
skills.
and hone our skills out at the farm and
We were
shoot.
pretty adept with firearms.
We did a pretty good job.
Blow dart
But yeah, we had a fun day
skills.
where he pointed at a bird and he said, didn't actually think that I was gonna kill it. And I think did I have the pump like
Oh, yeah.
pellet gun or
Oh,
some
yeah.
shit? Like I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
even think I had a legit gun at that
Pump
point.
action. 10 pumps.
Yeah.
Pump 20.
Yeah. He's like, I want you to shoot that bird in that tree. And I was like, okay. So I shot it. And not only did I shoot it, I shot it in the head and it fell out of the tree. And he's like, dude, I didn't think you were actually
Yeah.
going to shoot
Wayne
that.
County's Chris Kyle right here, ladies and gentlemen.
It was cool. That's fun. It's fun
Yeah.
times.
No, we were raised around firearms though, so like Pops definitely raised us to have a healthy respect for it. But do you remember?
When we used to light fires with 9-volt batteries and steel wool and mulch.
Yeah, the giant spiders.
Yeah. We used to burn spiders.
Burn
Oh
the
my gosh.
fuckers down. It's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, we would. We'd burn all kinds of stuff. Almost caught everything on fire at one point.
It's really funny because, like, I don't know, it sounds stupid to say, but I feel like when we were younger, we like really lived. You know, like we had
Yeah.
we weren't like a rich family. We didn't
No,
have like a
middle
bunch
class,
of
very middle
stuff,
class.
but like we like really made a freaking
most of
go.
everything,
Yeah,
yeah.
we made like a really great go of our lives, like when we were little and
It
stuff.
was like the Wonder Years.
Yeah, we had a really
really
cool like
cool.
neighborhood of kids. We used to play capture the flag all the time and
Yeah.
like just rad shit. My dad made like the biggest blacktop driveway for us ever,
it's
and we used to
huge.
play basketball out there and
And a
like
half
draw
court-
with
half court
chalk
driveway.
and yeah, we have.
What
And
is
then-
your sibling dynamic? Because I've met your younger brother. Don't you have another sister, right?
We have a stepsister, yeah, Heather.
How old is she? Where does she fall in the
she's
mix?
38. Is she 38? Is she older than you? No.
I don't
I'm
know.
not-
Just
I'm
throw a
not
number
sure
out there and
either.
I'll agree with you.
Yeah, she's of some age somewhere.
Very
with-
similar
Same
to the two
age.
of you.
Yeah.
And then your brother, he just graduated.
Similar in
He's
age,
my-
you mean, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's close. She's like, I don't remember how
38
old
or
she is.
39, I think.
Carter's going to be 19 this
Yeah,
year.
yeah, he's going to the Marines. So
Yep.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Hoorah.
I just saw him the other day.
Yeah. I was trying to get him to do like a, you know, he's probably projecting a little bit of what I would have wanted to do onto him. And so I had to dial myself back in. So, but I would like him, if he's going to go to the military, to come out with a skill set where he can, you know,
Make
do,
something
yeah,
of it.
do
Yeah,
something
make it
with
go.
So
with
like
it.
like a soft medic or like a delta medic or something like that. So
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a mechanic and like a
Aviation mechanic.
yeah, yep.
You could do
No, I
something
know.
with
You
that.
You can
do
make a
some
lot of money.
fantastic
Yeah, I
Especially
mean,
if
you
you-
can.
Somebody's going to have to maintain my plane when I buy it.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
You need a good pilot, or not good pilot. You obviously need a good
mechanic.
pilot, but you need a good mechanic, because that's just like if you buy a Ferrari. It's not about buying the thing; it's about
Yeah, the
keeping
maintenance.
it running.
Maintaining
Sure.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's especially when
Anybody
you're
can buy it. Not everybody can take care of it.
yeah, especially when you're like, doing things that humans shouldn't really be doing, flying. Like,
Bro, that's my whole life.
well, I mean, yeah, but you're not flying,
Am I though?
necessarily.
You don't know.
Yeah, it's either way. It's important.
Did I
have.
not partake in that ketamine last night?
Show the pose again. The ketamine pose.
Yeah.
I feel so balanced. Oh.
I can't handle two of you in the room at the same
I
time.
knew you wouldn't be able to, bro.
Listen,
I
I'm
told
surprised
you
he
from the
actually waited
get-go.
that long to make
I
that
know.
comment.
Yeah,
so much.
I'm
No,
loving
honestly,
it.
I love it because this is probably the most I haven't talked ever.
This
Yeah.
is
It's
like
Yeah.
this is usually about like 2 minutes in.
Locked
People are like,
eyes from across the
"Dude."
room.
Yeah.
Watch night as the rhythms boom.
So when I first like started going to Zephyrs, somebody was like, "Who is that?" And they're like, "That's Tony's sister." And they're like, "That makes sense."
Yeah. And they were also like,
Speaking
don't
of, you
fuck with
took
her.
your jacket off, and you're jacked as fuck, bro.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you look good.
Thank you.
Not that you didn't look good when you were doing yoga, but you mentioned that you're lifting.
I'm not.
I
Listen
seen
though, if you're gonna, here's the deal. There's a trade off. You can't have a back and do yoga at the same time.
You
so,
can't. Oh, I know.
So
It's rough.
I chose to have a back.
Do you ever
and I
get
paid
cold with
for
that
it.
sweater on those arms?
My sweater? No, but when I do get too hot, I braid it so that I have open areas so that I can get like a good wafting of a draft
Well
coming
played.
through.
Well played.
So you're just lucky I shaved my armpits for
You
this.
must just emasculate every dude that you come around.
No comment.
Mhm. That's what I thought.
She
Is this
thought
thing
about
on?
it for a
That's
second.
what I thought.
I told
It's
somebody
like,
the other day, I was
oh.
like, I used to think it was bullshit. It was like a bullshit excuse. Everybody used to be like, you're intimidating. And I'm like, I'm not fucking intimidating. And I'm like, you know what? I finally heard it for like the 82nd time the other day. And I
And
was
you
like,
accepted it.
all
You
right,
owned
it's
it.
kind of sinking in a little bit, maybe. I
You're
don't
not
know.
intimidating. They're just intimidated.
Intimidated.
There's a
Yeah.
difference there.
I've had some weird things said about me. I've been told that I'm like difficult to approach and intimidating. And I'm kind of like, I don't know. I don't think so, but that's fine.
I mean, I've had Corey
Probably
has
the
said
arm
that
hair.
about me.
Oh,
No,
it's
I
definitely
just
the
make
arm
it
hair.
sound
Holy shit! Did you see the arms on that girl? No, but
That
did you
bitch
see the
has
arm
more arm hair
hair?
than I do.
More testosterone.
Oh, when I was
2,000%.
2,000%.
Usually it's like 1/10 the testosterone for females.
But that's-
She's like, we're rocking half.
Yeah, but that's not her
I don't
fault.
know what
That's
to
their
say.
fault for
So
having
we
small
have like
taints.
it's like
the AGD distance.
it's like a well agreed upon notion that somewhere between the two of us we have some kind of good genetic makeup that builds us to be like more broad and
Monkeys?
muscular, I guess.
Yeah.
With
yeah.
with
Like
less effort than a lot of
apocalypse
people.
survivable.
Yeah, than with like potentially less effort than other people have to do, which in turn upsets people sometimes. Like they're like, "How do you?" I had a girl the other day. She's like, "Do you compete or do you just always look like that?" And I was like, I thought I had my headphones in though, so I thought she said, "Do you eat or do you just always look like this?" And I was
You're
like, I can't not eat if I
do I eat what?
what
What?
what? I'm sorry, what?
See, she wasn't intimidated. She was
No,
impressed.
yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
It took her about a year to come up and say anything to
So
me,
she
I
was
think,
definitely
but
intimidating.
no. But it was really cute though. It was a really cute compliment because I've been told that I have a pretty hardcore resting bitch face in the gym. And so it was nice of her to come up and say, because she's like, the guys probably think that I'm watching them, but I'm actually more like, could you get out of the way? Could you move over a little bit? And I was like, thank you. That was like really sweet of you. So I'm thinking about becoming bi then. And no, I'm just kidding. And then we went on a date.
Roll with it.
Having a
well, yeah,
baby in 9
whatever.
months.
Zero judgment here.
Right.
It's 2022.
Whatever makes you happy.
My mom's like, you got to be good at something. So My mom said, you could be anything you want. So I became a problem.
She's a walking meme.
Yeah,
Oh
seriously.
yeah. Oh yeah.
People send me stuff. They're like, you post the best stuff. I'm like,
You really do.
I've been off my game lately, but like, I cannot deny. Like, you cannot deny a good meme. You can't just like leave that shit out there. You got to share it.
And
And
own
so-
it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Even
I
if
don't know,
it's
some of your hashtags though, like compliment it perfectly. Like you're like, she's funny.
Yeah.
Like she's not just sharing a funny meme, she's actually funny too.
Way to be a little quippy, huh? Oh, I mean, if you can't have fun, what can you have, right?
yeah, I mean, if you're going to be on the socials, you might as well do it right.
Yeah.
Which by right I mean complete fuckery,
Yeah.
because there's no other way at this point. It's all fuckery.
Well, and it's like, I don't know. It's by default, but we live in this world where people like care too much about what other people think. And
Oh, I think I would have stopped you about 2 words earlier. People
People
care
care.
too much.
oh yeah, for
Just
sure.
care.
People care too much,
Just too much
period.
about
Well,
anything.
I don't even think they care. I think
Yeah, but
everybody's
dude,
just a bunch of nosy.
I don't think that's a bad thing as long as you're caring about the right things.
Well, yeah, what's your intention of caring? What's the intention
I would
behind
take
the
it one
care?
step further. It's what you do about the intentions of you caring too
True,
much.
kind, necessary, and encouraging. Dan
Yep.
Leach.
Yeah, so it's what you do.
Danny.
You know,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can do something too, though. But if the intention behind it's not right, then
what do they say about that?
What do you do?
Hotel?
what are you doing? It's paved with
Good intentions.
good intentions. Yeah, well, that's because guess what? The intentions
Or
are
bad
good.
intentions. Here's
No,
my number.
it's-
330-234. No.
Did you just roll your number out, or was
I
that
did.
my
I
number?
did. Well, you know.
He was a hybrid number. Yeah, so they say like
8675.
good. So what? It's like paved with good intentions. Good for who is what it is. It's
That's
like
true.
It's self intent, and that's the problem. Is like a lot of the ways that people go wrong is like they think they're doing something good, right? But they're like doing it for like their
Yeah.
own.
Back to what you said about empathy and altruism. So
Yeah.
Or even they think they're doing. Here, I'll give you this. What do you think about people doing something because they think it's what somebody else wants? So they think they're doing good for somebody else.
Yeah.
But in
It's-
reality, they're just faking something for somebody that
They're blind to like
doesn't want that thing.
Well, and they're very much in denial about probably what they would gain from that. So that's somebody that's saying like, "Oh, okay, well like I'm going to do this and it's good for you." But then you go, "Okay, well like it's not actually good for that person. So what are you getting? What are you potentially getting from this that you think that it's good for somebody else?"
Yeah, no. So what I meant is, I think some people will often do things because they think it's what somebody wants them to do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know,
for
so it's
sure.
like, all right, I'm going to do this good thing for this person because that's what they want me to do. But they've never asked
yeah.
that person, or they don't really truly understand. You know,
It's like a foreseen intent that
Yeah,
maybe
it's like,
is not
well,
even.
Yeah, it's like, all right, well, this is what this person wants from me, I think. So I'm going to do it, even though it's not what I want to do, and even though it's not what I know that they want. But it's just I think social media does that very well, is turning people
into
into
puppets.
into something that they think that somebody else potentially wants.
It's called a people into puppet mentality. You turn a people into a puppet.
Yeah, but in the end, it's still you doing something that you think somebody else wants.
But why do you think they want that?
That's what I mean. Like, I don't.
What
I
makes
don't
you
even know if that's all going into the social. That just
like a general.
that's like
concept
tapping
of-
into
No, in
you
general, but I'm
attempting to
saying
be a
you see
people
that
pleaser
very
as you were
often.
growing up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but then you like look at it like, okay, what did that person do that made you think that they wanted you to do? Like, where did you pull from? Do you know what I mean?
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You
Well,
pull it from yourself.
They
Yeah.
could have even voiced that they wanted that, but they maybe only wanted it if you really wanted to do it. But you weren't honest enough with yourself and all parties involved to say this isn't what I want. So now they think that you actually want to do this thing, but now you're just doing it to please them.
So that's
And
where
then-
like the intent goes awry behind it.
Yeah,
is-
and then really
Yeah.
nobody's satisfied because then you end up realizing like, well, fuck, he didn't even want to do that. So
now I feel like, yeah,
it doesn't land the same. So I think it all.
Well,
goes
that was
back to
that was kind of the whole point of what I was saying was
I was just trying to bring it full circle.
right. Like the whole point was sometimes we as people do things for other people that we think they want,
Yeah.
but they don't. That's not what they want, and we don't know because we haven't asked them.
Right.
So
I
we're
know
doing
that you know that I know that you know
exactly.
that I know that you know.
But excuse me, do you know?
Purple Cobras.
But all we have to do is just say, "Hey,
Hey.
what do you want from
Yeah.
me?"
Well,
Like-
everybody, like, communication levels are at all-time poor. Our communication
The
percentages are at
illusion
all-time
that it
lows.
actually occurred.
Yeah.
Oh, because it takes the time to get to know somebody. Even, I think, did I mention it right at the beginning? I don't know what it was. Tony sent us something today, and I was like,
I don't know what
I-
that means, but that's
I don't know what the I don't know what
I was
the hell
laughing
that
my
means.
ass off, but I
Yeah.
don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't remember if I said it while we were recording or not. But I was like, he sent me this thing. I'm like, that's a very Tony response, and I have no fucking clue what it means, and that's basically
Bro, I think it was
how it always is. Like,
Hmm.
yeah,
That's exactly what it was.
yeah, it was. And I'm like, I don't
I'm
even
just gonna
know.
stay in this bliss.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck is that supposed to be?
I don't know what's going on, but I feel
I don't know.
blissful, so let's roll with that.
Whatever.
Oh, I
He
love
responded, not well.
I don't
Not
know what
well.
it is, but I like it.
Not well.
So you're actually still talking about it, so I think it was well.
It. It was well. It's
I
all
don't
good.
know.
I heard him chuckle, and
Yeah.
then my phone dinged, and
Yeah.
I saw his response, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah."
I don't know. What
Tony
any of that
made Fred
means.
laugh.
Yeah, and I have no idea what it means.
We have some pretty good. Our text strings usually a pretty good time.
And fairly reverent.
Yeah.
I like reverence.
Maximum reverence.
Maximum amounts of reverence were had.
I think I could probably beat most people that I know with reverence. Not on air though, because that's
Challenge
I
accepted.
probably have too
Ding
much.
ding, round
Probably-
one.
I
Challenge
probably have
accepted.
too
Let's go.
much. Probably have too much for to put out in the internet forever, just in case I want to ever run for governor. Just
It
kid- I'm
starts
not.
tonight.
No, I'll never do that.
This is the first plug.
You'll have to go against Dustin and Champ.
Yeah,
Are
2042.
you ready for that?
Yeah, at least
At
20
the end
years.
of this
Well,
podcast,
they're
there will
in the
be an
2050, so
announcement.
you're good.
Watch till the end. And then nothing fucking happens like always. And you're like, why'd I watch it till the end?
Simulation.
They get more money.
Yeah.
The longer time you spend on
Yeah.
those,
Keep
yeah.
watching.
Yeah.
I promise you, it'll
Can you
happen.
believe what
Yeah.
happened? And then I watch it, and I'm like,
Wait,
nothing happened.
So wait, what do you do then? You head to the comments and they're like, part 2. And you're like, fuck your part 2.
Yeah, no, I'm like, am I that much
And
of
you
an
don't get my
idiot?
like.
I didn't catch anything. Oh yeah, they're not getting a heart for that.
Yeah, no.
So hold on a second.
Welcome, sir.
2022 predictions.
Ooh, I like
Let's
this.
hear 'em.
For me,
Well, for you and society.
I don't know if I want to take us down that road.
Take us down the road.
Let's do it.
Paradise Road, where the grass is green, and the girls are pretty.
Why don't you give me predictions? Throw some out. Everybody throws them out.
No.
See,
I'm
he
not
always
falling for
does
that
this to
shit
me.
with a
He
question
always
with a
does
question.
this. He always does
Our
this to
last
me.
name is both Adamrovich. Go fuck yourself.
This
Answer
is
me
true.
now.
This is true.
He does this to me all the time.
Predictions. I don't know. I definitely would like to look into moving forward with something with my career, either NP, midwife, something like
All
that.
I heard was NP, and you could stop there.
Okay.
That's it.
So he
We're
doesn't-
opening a practice together.
Yep. We're taking patience.
We're taking-
We're taking patience.
Sign on up.
We don't have a name yet because everything we've come up with is completely inappropriate.
Who's
but we will
coming with
gladly
us?
take fantastic care of you.
Who's coming with us?
Fuck you.
This is like Jerry
Fuck
Maguire.
you.
Who's
Do you have
coming
any
with us?
fish
Waiting
around
for
here?
someone to stand up.
You're cool.
Are there any
Who's coming
goldfish
with
here?
Show me the money,
Just
Jerry.
bag them up for me on the way
Okay.
out.
Show
You
me the
taking
money.
this?
Show me the money.
Thinking you're gonna do the midwifery or
Wi-Fi.
or the NP.
I don't know. What do you think? If we were gonna have a practice together, how would I be more of service in the practice? What would be?
Well, I would want to know what you want to do first, because if you're not passionate about it, if you're not alive about it,
We don't want it.
no,
We don't want it.
no.
I could really see myself doing either or. The only reason that midwifery appealed to me was I do enjoy the delivery, the labor and delivery aspect.
Yeah.
And getting some on-call time in the hospital, because that's my biggest thing. Like, I don't like that 8 to 5, 9 to 4, whatever grind every day of the week, you know? And I mean, working 12s is not super fantastic either, but like I'm part-time right now and it works really great with the schedule and it's really good for the boys in school. And like when you become an adult, those are all things that you have to consider.
Fucking adulting.
I know, it's so boring. But I just don't like being in the office all the time, just does like not appeal to me. I've been
Nope.
at the bedside for 10 years and I like the pace of it, but I'm also realistic to the point where like, if we have to admit like how old we are, we're obviously not old, but we're obviously not getting any younger. And
Bro, we're not that old.
well, dude, you haven't been on your feet like 12 hours, no sitting down. You know what I mean? Like after a while, it
Shots fired.
Wait,
Weighs
hold on a
on you.
second. You mean that tree company I built? I wasn't on my feet all those times?
Not when you were old.
yeah, not when you were old.
I've literally only done this for a year and a half.
Not when you were old.
I was
Now you're old. Trust me. I get it. I'm right there
I
with
guess
you.
it's just like, I don't know, the pace of it. And you know what I mean? Like working so many years that way, I know myself that
No.
I'm not going to want to keep up that same pace forever. But there is something about being at the bedside that is a lot less mundane to me than like having those office hours and things like that.
Well, I think there's something to be said then, like someone that, like, when you're young, like, you have the physical abilities to run
Right.
through the job and do all the physical things and learn as you go. And then as you get older, like, you have more wisdom, you have more knowledge, you have this bank of information that you can pull from. So naturally, it kind of works out. You should be able to use your mind more until you start, until you start losing it, which, who knows?
I'm
But-
already doing that.
Yeah, but that's the whole idea of being skilled.
Yeah.
Is learning and being able to apply it and being able to teach others
Yeah.
how to do that said thing. That scowl. I'm glad he gives you the same scowl.
What else?
he gives me.
bro,
Nothing
there's no
else.
scowl whatsoever.
It
Like,
look no.
I
It just
just waiting for the rest of that follow up. So
Sorry.
personally in 2022.
Let's see. What else do I want to do? The kids and I love going fishing and going on adventures, so definitely some more of that probably this summer.
I do have a pond.
We'll be fishing in your pond.
All right.
have you been fishing in that pond yet?
Oh, dude, no.
How do you know there's not like?
There's fish in that pond, Fred.
I'm not saying there's not fish in the pond. I'm saying what kind of fish are in that pond. You might be. Are you going to turn into like some kind of like Tony Stark motherfucker? Are you eating radiated fish? You
Oh.
never. Have you had it
Can
tested?
I be Spider-Man?
Can I be? You're gonna have to.
I just want to shoot webs out of my...
Bro, I'm not fishing with a Geiger counter. Fuck off.
I'm just saying.
Drag the
Yeah,
bottom.
let me quote some Logan
Find
Paul
the
here.
bodies.
Fuck off, be gone.
Have you? I guess what I'm saying. Have you dredged the pond for bodies and gypsum?
Wait, this just took a sick turn to the left.
I don't know.
I did
Well, do you know
plant
what's in
that
that pond?
seed of doubt in his head, but
Is there a nuclear warhead in there?
yeah, like what's going on in that pond?
Is there a body?
Stay
Bro,
tuned.
why would I?
Is Bessie?
Why would I
Is
inclu-
Bessie there?
Why would I
Next
incriminate
episode,
myself?
We're dredging the pond.
Dredge? I'm not going to incriminate shit. Why would I? I'm
Is
not
Bessie
going to
there?
dredge it. Why would I incriminate myself?
Is that where Bigfoot's portal is at?
So you're telling me there's
So
a
you're saying
chance?
Craig Miletti's hanging out over there?
Yeah, I'm just saying that might be the portal to a new.
I can't wait
Shout
to
out
get into
Craig
that
Miletti.
gym.
Miletti,
Plug that
Miletti,
gym.
Miletti. It's going to happen soon.
Worcester Warehouse.
There's some big things happening there.
That place is
Yeah,
Big.
like you and me are
Period.
both going to be
Big.
working out there.
it's so
no,
big.
way cooler than that. Way
Can we
cooler.
get
place
on
is
the family
massive.
plan together?
I'll pay for you.
Will you get on the family plan with
Don't worry
me?
about it.
We don't know the pricing.
Yeah, I'm stoked about that.
So,
Love Zephyrs. Love it. It's a great gym. It serves a great purpose, but I'm a little bit closer to home and
God bless you, Mike Jared.
can't beat all that.
But back to 2022
Yes.
predictions.
Probably
He's
just
really
working
hung
more
on
on
this, huh?
myself.
Say that again.
Working more on myself.
Working more on yourself.
on myself. Myself.
Like
Myself.
staring in the mirror.
Myself. Not really worried so much about my physical appearance.
Well, I actually didn't mean that. It was a metaphor
I know.
for your soul. It's
Oh.
dark, black, and bleak.
I was not aware that I had one of those. However,
Oh, well played.
if I do find
She
it,
did-
I will
she
be sure
did-
to work on it.
She did mention having a red-headed child.
I do have a redheaded child. Which is, this is really interesting and quirky. So there's also been a lot of things over my nursing career that kind of have undoubtedly established my faith and like
Faith
Just-
in what?
in God and
Okay.
like some other things. But like,
We don't have time to have
Right,
that
yeah.
discussion today.
no, and that's not even a conversation we're gonna have. But
He's like,
fuck
we're
off.
not drunk enough for that.
Not
that
doing
door,
it.
yeah, no. But it's funny because we had Roic, and then I had 2 miscarriages in between the 2 boys. And so after the second miscarriage, I was like, you know what? Like, one kid's good. Like, I mentally was like, didn't think that I could go through anything like that again. And it's one of those things that, like, talk about being naive. Like, when you get pregnant, and Roic was a surprise for us. And so, like, when you get pregnant and you're not even planning it, and then you have, like, pretty much, I would say, like, 90% perfect pregnancy. We lost our grandma, who was like the matriarch of our family, when I was 7 months pregnant, and I was on bed rest for a little bit. But it was like, when you have something like that so seamlessly just happen to you, like, you really honestly negate the fact that like anything could go wrong. So like when we found out we were pregnant the second time, like, I, for not even one inkling of a second, thought that I was not going to end up having that baby. Like,
Right.
I thought I was going to be like, when I found out I was pregnant, I was already thinking about like a full term, perfect, beautiful newborn. And so we lost that baby, and then we lost the second baby. And those were like the 2 pregnancies that we had like planned. Like, we wanted to give Roic a sibling. And by that time, he was about 3 years old or so. And we're like, you know what? Like, it's cool. Like, we're just going to have Roic, and I'm just going to be the best mom I can to him. And like, it's going to be fine. But like, I had a sibling growing up. And even though we fought like cats and dogs, like, we've developed this really beautiful relationship with each other where we're just like funny and we get it. And we're like, ha ha, the male and female version of each other.
Yeah, you need me to bury a body for you?
Yeah.
Do it.
I tease people, and I'm
It's
like,
called bonding.
I tease people, and I'm like, we're twins, but he stole all the nutrients in the womb. So I'm still actively trying to regain some of that right now. But yeah, so then like Adric was like a total surprise, and didn't plan him at all. Like, found out I was pregnant, and I'd had so much trauma from those 2 losses that like for the longest time, like, I didn't even go to the doctors right away because I was just like, something's going to end up happening. And like, I feel like I'm putting all my eggs in one basket, and I don't want to get my hopes up and stuff. So, and then this like beautiful little child comes out with this full head of red hair, which was like totally left field, unexpected. And then he has this like super rare genetic condition where he's missing his right pectoralis muscle. And they diagnosed him kind of at birth and stuff. But along with that, the thing that was interesting to me is like, he was one of those babies that when I had him, it was like I had this weird sensation like I knew him already. Like, I looked at him and I was like, I know him. It was like a weird, it's hard to explain, but
Did
I
you
felt
feel like that with Royal?
not as much, but I had a really traumatic delivery with Roic, and I
No.
think that
No, I
contributed
remember that.
like a
You were
lot to
bleeding like
like
crazy.
initially the bonding that goes on between a mother and child. And like, I also see like down the road, I feel like I'm not quite as close with him as I am with my younger. And like, I almost wonder if some of that was some of that trauma that had gotten built up from
No.
like a really like I had a really bad delivery with him, and to the point of like I was needing blood and stuff like that. And I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but I definitely struggled with like some postpartum depression and anxiety after I had Roic, and so that always makes me wonder too if like I had a little bit more trouble kind of making that bond. We definitely did make that bond, and we were as thick as thieves when he was little, and I was able to work part-time and stay home a lot, and like all of my energy was 100% focused on him. And so maybe some of that swaying back is a little bit now that there's 2 of them, and like there's only one of me, but my heart has grown. But you guys both
Right.
have to share like my body and my abilities and like all that stuff. So, but yeah, Adric came out with this like red hair, which was a total shock, and then this like really super rare genetic condition. And then it turns out I had been in a car accident or something years ago, and they did a chest X-ray. And when they did the X-ray, they told me that I had like an extra rib or an extra portion of a rib. And he comes out with this super rare genetic condition where he's missing his right pectoralis muscle, and they do a chest X-ray and he's missing like a portion of one of his ribs. And so like probably total coincidence, but that's
Sure.
just like one of those things that like I don't know, they always tell people like people always do better when they have hope, right? So it's like kind of one of those things that you're like could be just a complete coincidence, but like it's one of those things after everything else that you've seen over the years as a nurse, especially with like death and dying patients and stuff, that I'm like, you know what? We're like super bonded. So
There's definitely something that science and faith and belief and there's just something there that we just can't see.
yeah.
And whatever it is, it just connects people, especially in
Yeah.
a situation like that. Like whatever, regardless of what it is, if it's real or not, I don't want to use the word imagined,
Right.
but just something that we just can't
Interpreted
quantify.
in a certain way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's something there.
Yeah. Well, and
It's-
I like, that's my hope for people, is that they have those moments in their life where they stop and say like, wow, okay, this is bigger than the credit that I've been giving it in however that looks, or like whatever that means for that person. So, because I definitely think that, we don't give all of our life the credit that it deserves. And we don't always, like we talked, going back to like taking things for granted, and how we just sometimes blindly take things for granted, staying present and aware. And that rolls back into the yoga. That's something that yoga tries to teach you, is like being present in that moment and being aware in that moment. And if you can live in the presence, then you're not affected by the past, because it's past, it's gone, it's done. We're not back there.
Mhm.
We're here. And that's not with us anymore, because we left it back there. So listen, how heavy is that shit when you have to carry it? Wouldn't you much rather carry other things like joys and good
Right.
times and stuff like that? Like, leave that baggage in the past where it belongs. Focus on the current moment. I used to have to say, when shit looked so bad and so bleak, and I'd literally look and I'd be like, no one is dying. No one is leaving here. Yes, we're closing this chapter on life, or whatever it is. We're finishing this right now, but like, these people aren't going anywhere. So just because you're not in the story right now doesn't mean that you're not going to be in the story again. And that's, the only thing that we are certain about in life is death. Death is the only thing that is absolutely guaranteed
Taxes.
to us. Yeah, and taxes. But
Bro,
death
I
and
know
taxes.
several people that have evaded those, but no,
know-
the death, the memento mori.
yeah.
So the death that comes for all of us, the et in Arcadia ego.
It's literally the only thing that, I mean, you can escape it, but not eternally. It's the only thing that you can
That's-
run from, but
the memento mori.
yeah, and that's just one of those things, as like, we don't live in the present moment. A lot of people don't, and I think it's because a lot of people, it's like too much. It's too hard. It's a lot. It's like big and
'cause
scary.
We're still trying to comprehend the past.
Well, like, because we're super comfortable back there, right? Because we already lived that. Like, God forbid we have to go on and live something that we don't know. But isn't that the whole purpose of life?
Well, I thought about that this week, where it's like, you always hear that if you go back to a certain year, relive some year, or do like, if I go back to when I was 18,
Yeah.
fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm good right where I'm at. Like, this is, I'm
Well, and the
starting,
longer,
I feel like I'm finally starting to figure it out, kind of.
but also like the longer that your path gets, like, there's nothing wrong. People say like, don't live in the past, and that is fine. And I agree with that, but there is absolutely nothing wrong with retrospect, right?
Oh, yeah.
Learning from your past.
Yeah, so you can like
Understanding it.
look there, don't live there, just
Yeah.
look there, okay?
You
So
can't live there.
yeah, no, you cannot live there. That doesn't sustain you, because you're not there, you're here. You can't be two places. It's like, I said to somebody one time, like, any part of you that you give to someone else, you can't give that part to somebody else. You can divide yourself and you can give your attention to this person, but like, you can't give, if you're giving attention to someone, then you're not giving full attention to someone else. So any
Right.
part of yourself that you give away to somebody else, you can't give to another person. And it's just one of those things. Like, we just have to keep moving forward, living in the present, and kind of accepting it for what it is, making the best that we can of it, and
Nemo nisi mors.
yeah, trying to figure out what the next step is. Nemo nisi mors, nothing except death. So
I think I don't know any better way to end this, honestly. It's, you
Just
can't,
a little Latin for you.
yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, and you can't change the past.
no.
All you can do is learn from it and move on.
Well, and that's what I was saying. As your path in life gets longer, you have the ability to do that retrospect and look back. And like when you were 21, you might have been like, oh my gosh, I wish I could be 18 again. But now that you're older, you look back and this is where you go, hey, if I wouldn't have done that when I was that age, then I wouldn't have this now. And so that's where people don't stay cognizant to that. They are so obsessed with their struggle and everything that's happening or whatever is going on that they forget, they say, don't go to the past, don't go to the past. Well, no, but like sometimes you have to look back there in order to fully appreciate the progress that you've made. And you have to look back there to realize that, like, you know what? If I wouldn't have lost those two babies, I wouldn't have this super special bond with this. I wouldn't have this person in my life. That's like one of the most simplest forms of what you can do, but you can do it with anything.
Yeah.
So
It's a big difference between living in it and reflecting on it.
yeah, exactly. That's it. Did I earn my food? Can we eat now?
Yeah, I'm starving. I need a steak. We gotta
Ciara,
get a
thank you.
steakhouse.
Yeah, thank you.
Love you,
Thanks for
C.
having me. Love you.
Thank you for joining us today. Remember, check out the website, chronic-curiosity.com, to join us at the forum, have some fun, interaction, pick you up a comfy t-shirt, or if you just want to support the show and donate, all that is on the website as well. Thank you. Until next time. See you.